A full moon emerged behind Huqianwu, and countless runes flowed on top of it, its sacred light shrouding the heavens. Standing before it, with the sacred light shining on her, Huqianwu appeared like a holy goddess. Regrettably, her expression looked rather ferocious, contrasting with the sacred light. As Xing Wujiang observed the intense battle unfolding before him, he sighed. This is the heavenly fate disc, a symbol of status for heavenly chosen, and it's synonymous with the word unrivaled. Long Chen, my good brother, are you prepared? Seeing it, Xing Wujiang knew that Huqianwu had started to fight seriously. As Long Chen wasn't deterred by the pressure of a heavenly chosen, even if he couldn't win, he should be able to flee. At the very least, he wouldn't easily die at her hands. However, Xing Wujiang fretted over the possibility of Long Chen refusing to retreat and instead choosing to fight Huqianwu to the death. The heavenly fate disc was something countless people dreamed of possessing. The heavenly chosen seemed to have an unfair advantage in life with it, as they became unrivaled beneath the heavens. At this moment, countless people stared enviously at the heavenly fate disc. Other than those few people from the Flame Divine Hall, no one else present had seen a true heavenly fate disc. This Doyan power. Huqianwu's Doyan power had reached a legendary level, condensing to the point of being liquid. Normally, Doyan power of heavenly Doyans was gaseous, akin to a mix of smoke and mist. Yet, despite its ethereal nature, it augmented the Doyan's abilities exponentially, akin to adding wings to a tiger. However, the Doyan power emanating from Huqianwu was different, forming ripples of energy that transcended mere quantity. There existed a dimensional disparity between the Doyan power of heavenly chosens and that of heavenly Doyans. With the heavenly fate disc activated, Huqianwu looked at Long Chen coldly. Do you see? This is the heavenly fate disc that many people never get to see. It symbolizes unrivaled power, a testament from the world that I am invincible. An insignificant ant like you could never hope to grasp this power, even with 10 lifetimes of training. Now that you've witnessed it, you may die without regrets. Huqianwu's voice echoed throughout every corner of the world, commanding authority, as if she were a deity reigning over her domain. Everywhere her Doyan power touched became her domain, and even the experts outside the barrier were unable to move under her terrifying pressure. According to normal standards, the one at the core of a domain had to be under 1,000 times the pressure. Yet, Long Chen remained remarkably composed even in the presence of her formidable power. As I said, I specialize in beating people who think they are unbeatable. Even if you have this bullshit heavenly fate disc, I can still beat you, said Long Chen lightly. Now that he was stalled and unable to assist Ammonian, Long Chen was also in no rush. He didn't hold much hope for finding treasures, given his bad luck. Instead, he preferred to have a proper fight with Huqianwu. Encountering such a formidable opponent for the first time ignited his competitive spirit. Previously, Long Chen had been reluctant to fight her, partly because he didn't want to engage in battle with a woman. However, he now realized he had misjudged the situation. Perhaps it was due to constantly being targeted by the heavenly Daos, or perhaps it was because he wasn't a Doyan, but he wasn't very sensitive toward the fluctuations of Doyan energy. Even when Huqianwu used the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip, Long Chen didn't view her as a real opponent. He only wanted to get rid of her to help Ammonian. However, when she summoned the heavenly fate disc, Long Chen finally recognized her as a real opponent. He also understood why Xing Wujiang would repeatedly warn him to be careful with heavenly chosens, even subtly hinting that it wasn't embarrassing to run when facing them. Long Chen appreciated his concerns, but what Xing Wujiang didn't know was that the stronger the opponent, the more easily Long Chen's fighting spirit was ignited. Long Chen's blood started to heat up, and his fighting spirit blazed. Huqianwu coldly said, "Frogs at the bottom of a well have no experience, so they are always blindly ignorant. You will pay the price for your foolishness." Unexpectedly, Long Chen stuck Evil Moon under his armpit and clapped for a moment before putting it back on his shoulder. He taunted, "Wow, I didn't expect you to be able to say something so correct. It's rare for someone to have such an accurate judgment of themselves." Hearing this provocation, Huqianwu exploded with rage. Clearly, in terms of cursing people, she couldn't compare to Long Chen. The heavenly fate disk behind Hu Qianwu quivered, and flames appeared all around it. In an instant, this world became a sea of fire. "What kind of flame is that?" Startled cries rang out. Even through the barrier, they felt like they would melt. If they were inside, even if their bodies could survive, their souls wouldn't. That's the Doyan flame. A terrifying flame that can amplify any flame within the heavens. Even an ordinary beast flame can unleash hundreds or thousands of times its original power when boosted by the Doyan flame, explained a heaven saint. All of them knew that Hu Qianwu was a heavenly genius of the flame divine hall, which possessed countless heavenly flame seeds. Hence, whatever flame she controlled had to be absolutely terrifying. However, what Hu Qianwu was displaying was merely the Doyan flame, and that was enough to ignite the very world, turning it into a blazing flame sea. They couldn't imagine how terrifying it would be when she summoned her core flame. Unexpectedly, Long Chen just looked at Hu Qianwu indifferently. "Don't blame me for not warning you. You shouldn't bother with any senseless probing blows. Don't think about beating me with the tiniest bit of power. Make sure to deal a thunderous blow from the start while I still haven't figured out your techniques. That's your only chance." "Ignorant fool." Hu Qianwu was enraged by Long Chen's expression. She had thought that this Doyan flame would be enough to crush him mentally, but he completely looked down on it. Countless runes lit up on the heavenly fate disk behind Hu Qianwu, condensing into a golden bird. When it appeared, startled cries rang out. Startled cries rang out when they saw the divine bird within Hu Qianwu's golden disk. This divine bird was completely golden, as if it was made of gold. Its wings covered the sun, and its sharp claws had 3 talons. The 3-foot golden crow. Her core flame is the golden crow flame. The golden crow flame was a branch of the sun flame. When cultivated back to its origin, the master of the golden crow flame could understand the sun and transform it into the sun flame. Whether it was the Fusang flame from the Fusang tree or the golden crow flame, they were all parts of the sun flame. However, before transforming, they were merely supreme yang flames. In truth, both the golden crow flame and Fusang flame had to be cultivated to the very pinnacle to have a chance to become the true sun flame. Before transforming into the sun flame, they would always produce a manifestation of the Fusang tree and golden crow existing together. For example, a legend said that when a Fusang tree grew to the pinnacle, it would produce a golden crow totem. Once the golden crow was born, they jointly produced the sun flame. In the same vein, the golden crow would produce a Fusang bone after cultivating to the peak. It was said that every golden crow had a Fusang seed inside of it, and when the Fusang bone reached maturity, it would fall from the golden crow and become a sapling of the Fusang tree. The golden crow race used the Fusang trees as a resting place. They grew and multiplied there, cultivating the Tao of the sun. Some said that the Fusang trees and golden crows were actually one body, and their ultimate goal was the sun flame. The golden crow flame was already famous enough. Hence, when boosted by the Doyan flame, its power grew even more. When the golden crow manifestation spread its wings, a rain of fire fell. These flames burned right through the barrier around Heaven's Screen Mountain, causing countless people to cry out. However, the scene they expected didn't occur. While the rain of flame might be capable of burning small holes into the barrier, the holes quickly recovered as soon as they appeared. This golden crow flame is actually capable of piercing the barrier around Heaven's Screen Mountain. Even heaven's saints would have to avoid it. Sighs rang out from the crowd, stating that Hu Qianwu was absolutely terrifying. "Long Chen, do you have any final words?" Hu Qianwu stood there like a flame goddess, looking down on Long Chen. "If this is your strongest trump card, I can't even be bothered to speak to you," Long Chen snorted, as he clenched Evil Moon in his hand. His black robes billowed despite the absence of wind. His long hair slowly started to flutter, and a sharp murderous aura rose around him. "With death at hand, your mouth is still tough. Humph, I won't kill you in one move. First, I'll let you savor the feeling of regret and despair." Hu Qianwu extended her arm and clenched her hand toward Long Chen. The sea of flames behind her then raged as a giant hand emerged from it, instantly covering the entire world. This move elicited countless startled cries. No one had ever seen such a large-scale attack before. Dodging it seemed impossible. The scope of the attack was immense, with the giant hand covering everything in sight, including both Long Chun and Hu Qianwu. However, Hu Qianwu passed right through it. The hand ultimately only grasped Long Chun. Is it over in one move? Even the Heaven Saints thought like this. If they were in Long Chen's position, they wouldn't be able to dodge this enormous attack. They could only rely on their Heaven Saint power to fight head-on. When this giant flame hand rapidly condensed around Long Chun, a thunderous roar rang out from within him. Scarlet Dragon Battle Armor. When this majestic dragon cry rang out, the giant flame hand quivered and exploded. What? A blood-colored divine radiance spread, pushing back the flames. Seeing this, the other experts knew that Long Chen's powerful blood chi was forcing the sea of flames back. They then saw Long Chun wreathed in flames, his body covered in blood-colored scales, and a blood-colored cloak draped over his back. His technique. Xing Wujiang's pupils shrank. He had seen Long Chun use the Scarlet Dragon Battle Armor before, but the aura of his dragon blood was completely different this time. Every scale on Long Chun was now ablaze, with dragon-shaped runes flowing within it. At this moment, a sacred dragon might scoured against heaven and earth, even surpassing the pressure of the heavenly fate disk. Blood-colored dragon runes flickered in his eyes, and the flames burning around him were also the color of blood. This is the Scarlet Dragon Battle Armor in its strongest state, and it's my first time using it. To use your words, after seeing this, you can die with no regrets. Long Chen's voice echoed throughout heaven and earth. His aura did not lose out to that of Hu Qianwu, who was backed by the heavenly fate disk. In fact, he appeared even sharper and more domineering than her. When Long Chun destroyed Hu Qianwu's attack, even the Vice Hall Master was startled. Long Chen's power far exceeded his expectations. Zhang Yibin and the others' expressions also changed. None of them had expected Long Chun to be this powerful. They now realized that Long Chun would have been able to charge through their blockade without Xing Wujiang's interference last time. Without enough preparation, they wouldn't have been able to stop him. In fact, some of them might die if they were caught off guard. Thinking of this, Zhang Yibin and the others secretly wiped off some sweat. They had underestimated the power of the youngest dean in the High Firmament Academy's history. Their contempt toward him almost cost them their lives. Seeing this scene, Xing Wujiang clenched his fists. Although he knew that Long Chun had been holding back the whole time, he hadn't expected it to be this much. What Xing Wujiang didn't know was that within the Dragon Soul body forging art that Long Chun trained in, there was a technique involving burning dragon blood. The dragon blood battle armor activated with that technique simply could not be compared to the ordinary one. However, this technique posed such an immense burden on the body that Long Chun had never wanted to use it. He was worried about injuring himself and couldn't maintain this state for long. Once he exhausted his dragon blood, he would enter a weakened state, and then he would be unable to deal with the other dangers. Another reason was that while burning his dragon blood power was easy, replenishing it was much more difficult. It took a great deal of time to recover. Long Chun wouldn't normally use this move so lightly. However, having cast aside all his misgivings, he had stopped always taking the long view and restraining himself. Now, free of those worries, he only cared about the present. He would deal with the consequences when they came. Blood-colored flames burned around Long Chun, scouring the world like waves. Most terrifying of all, his aura continued to rise as if there was no limit. Pointing Evil Moon straight at the shocked Hu Qianwu, Long Chun declared, "Let me see just how much power a so-called heavenly chosen has." Suddenly, Long Chun swayed, leaving a line of afterimages and a trail of blood-colored flames as he charged straight at Hu Qianwu. Evil Moon quivered, and a blood-colored divine radiance slashed out of its edge. Long Chen's dragon blood power fully erupted at that moment, merging with Evil Moon. This attack was neither a magical art nor a divine ability. It was a simple slash. Yet, all of Long Chen's dragon blood power was infused into it. In his blood ignition state, power was swelling within Long Chun, threatening to make him explode if he didn't release it. While Evil Moon couldn't assist Long Chun directly, it could withstand any amount of power he channeled through it without the risk of being damaged. After all, this wild dragon blood power would have instantly crumbled a different divine weapon. Even a Heaven Saint divine weapon might not necessarily be able to endure all his power concentrating on its edge. Just like that, Evil Moon cut open the heaven screen, severing the bindings of space and the laws of the 10,000 Daos. A wave of power crashed toward Hu Qianwu. Hu Qianwu had not expected such a thunderous attack from Long Chun. Her blaze dragon bone whip quivered, instantly coiling around her arms. No one understood what she was doing, as binding her hands seemed like surrendering to them. However, at the next moment, her heavenly fate disc quivered, and divine radiance blazed out of it, flowing into her back, then her arms, hands, and finally into her blaze dragon bone whip. Blaze dragon heaven roar. As a brilliant dragon cry rang out, millions of runes lit up on the bone whip, condensing into a giant flame dragon that roared at Long Chen's incoming attack. Long Chen's merciless snort rang out. A mantis trying to stop a carriage. You overestimate your own power. Boom! Evil Moon slashed into the giant flame dragon. Despite its majestic might, the flame dragon instantly crumbled, transforming into specks of light, while Evil Moon continued onwards, unimpeded. What? Jiang Yibin and the others from the Flame Divine Hall were completely shocked. How can that be? The Blaze Dragon Heaven Roar is one of the divine abilities engraved on the Blaze Dragon's bones, and its power isn't inferior to the original Dragon Roar, exclaimed one of their Heaven Saints. The Blaze Dragon Bone Whip was a supreme flame weapon, and in order to preserve its dragon nature, the Flame Divine Hall had invested countless resources into it. However, the simple swing of Long Chen's saber had easily broken its strongest divine ability, causing the Vice Hall Master's expression to change. His dragon blood power, the Vice Hall Master muttered. He had noticed where the problem was. There weren't any flaws with the Blaze Dragon Heaven Roar. It was simply crushed because the two dragon powers were not on the same level. In other words, the Blaze Dragon couldn't roar in front of Long Chun. The Vice Hall Master's sharp vision instantly caught the issue at hand. This was precisely why Long Chun mocked Hu Qianwu for not knowing her place. By igniting his dragon blood, Long Chun summoned an unprecedentedly powerful scarlet dragon battle armor. The eruption of his dragon blood unleashed a vast and formidable dragon might that even he hadn't anticipated. Hu Qianwu, however, foolishly chose to use a divine ability of the dragon race to block this attack instead of employing her strongest Doyan power. That was incurably foolish. Evil Moon was already in front of Hu Qianwu. To everyone's astonishment, even with her counterattack destroyed, Hu Qianwu didn't dodge or use other divine abilities. She directly raised her arms to block Long Chen's attack, and Evil Moon descended on the dragon bone whip wrapped around her hands. Boom! The barrier cracked, almost exploding because of their power. However, Long Chun was surprised to see that Hu Qianwu was unharmed. When his attack landed, her robes were blasted off, the tatters flying through the air like butterflies. Even her heavenly fate disc quivered and flickered. Beneath her robes, she wore a dark red dress that appeared to be made of countless quivering flame feathers. A powerful divine might emanated from it. Jaws dropped in astonishment. Unexpectedly, in addition to the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip, Hu Qianwu possessed another supreme divine weapon, a flame feather dress. Moreover, this dress seemed even stronger than her Blaze Dragon Bone Whip. Countless experts gasped. As expected, geniuses were supported by a mountain of resources. She actually possessed two Heaven Saint divine weapons. Even if she weren't a heavenly chosen, who could possibly beat her? After all, 99% of the heavenly geniuses here were unqualified to possess a Heaven Saint divine weapon. In fact, even amongst Heaven Saints, many of their Heaven Saint divine weapons were incomplete. This was because even a Heaven Saint wouldn't necessarily be able to afford a complete Heaven Saint divine weapon. They would need to buy their own materials and request someone to forge it. Then, they would use their soul to nourish it, sacrificing their blood to strengthen it. After investing countless resources and years of careful nurturing, they would have a Heaven Saint divine weapon with spirituality. A Heaven Saint divine weapon spirituality was related to its resonance with its master. Amongst Heaven Saint divine weapons, they could be classified as low grade, middle grade, high grade, and top grade. Among the Flame Divine Hall's experts, only Jiang Yibin's weapon was considered high grade, and the others only possessed middle grade weapons. As for rogue Heaven Saints, most of them only possessed low grade weapons. On the other hand, Hu Qianwu possessed 2 top-grade Heaven Saint divine weapons, sparking jealousy among the young disciples. Just then, the red feathers from her dress quivered, and Long Chun felt an immense force push him back. Long Chun was forced back 7 steps, each step causing the void to collapse. Only then did he manage to stabilize himself. As expected, you have some ability. Unfortunately, you aren't qualified to compete with me. No matter how strong you are, you won't be able to escape death today. Hu Qianwu glared at Long Chun, clenching the blaze dragon bone whip. Seeing Long Chun staring at her dress, she sneered. This dress's name is the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress. It was made from 1,000 ancient phoenix true feathers that had reached the Heaven Saint level. Go ahead and look carefully. This kind of divine object is something an ant like you won't get to see again in this lifetime. Hearing this dress's origins, the experts outside gasped. No wonder she was so confident. This dress was terrifying. This dress really isn't bad. Long Chun eyed the feather dress, his eyes slowly turning blue with greed. When Hu Qianwu saw Long Chen's greedy expression, her sneer grew more prominent. Someone as aloof as she had never regarded anyone with significance, especially poor commoners like Long Chun. She innately looked down on them. However, the fact that Long Chen had repeatedly thwarted her completely enraged her. Seeing Long Chen's expression, she finally regained her confidence. The 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress's divine light flowed around her, its beauty beyond description. Even disregarding its power as a Heaven Saint divine weapon, the dress alone was captivating enough to attract countless admirers. How about you take off that dress? Then I can consider not killing you, remarked Long Chun as he set Evil Moon on his shoulder. You're courting death. Hu Qianwu's rage instantly exploded. Realizing he had misspoken, Long Chun quickly waved his hand. I'm not interested in what you look like without the dress. I'm just saying that you can hand the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress to me, and I'll spare your life. Exchanging a dress for your life is worth it. You know? Hu Qianwu laughed furiously. You really are a frog. Do you think someone like you can touch my 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress? Long Chen shook his head. No, I'm not planning on dirtying it. I just feel like your looks are too ordinary to wear such a beautiful dress. That's practically a blasphemy toward it. I know a beautiful girl like a heavenly fairy who's more suitable to wear this dress. Big brother Long Chun. Huolinger was immediately moved after hearing that. In truth, the moment that she saw the blaze dragon bone whip, she started to get excited. But when the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress appeared, she practically went crazy. Let alone her. Its beauty was something no one could resist. However, she was always very obedient. Knowing that Hu Qianwu was extremely powerful, she didn't dare to release any spiritual fluctuations for fear of affecting Long Chen's battle. However, now that Long Chun had said that he wanted the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress, she was so moved that she wept. Average looks. Xing Wujiang stared at Long Chen oddly speechless. Mo Nian's tongue was sharp, but Long Chen's words were just as fatal, especially towards someone like Hu Qianwu who was so conceited. She instantly exploded and swung the blaze dragon bone whip toward Long Chun. I'll kill you. The 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress fluctuated, and phoenix cries rang out, merging with the dragon cry of the whip. A complete set of divine weapons? Long Chun was startled by this and swung Evil Moon down. Boom! The impact blasted Long Chun back, causing the void behind him to collapse. Relying on the rebounding force, Long Chun barely managed to stabilize himself. His hand was bleeding and almost numb. He was injured. Heavens! Two Heaven Saint divine weapons capable of complementing each other. Even a Heaven Saint would meet their end against such a combination attack, exclaimed one senior expert. For two top-grade Heaven Saint divine weapons to be capable of complementing and assisting each other, merging both of their powers, this was something they had never seen before. "Thousand Phoenix return!" shouted Hu Qianwu. Long Chun had barely stabilized himself when the space around him exploded, revealing many multicolored phoenixes surrounding him. Shit! Long Chun instantly activated all 7 split the heaven runes on Evil Moon. Not waiting for their full power to activate, he instantly swung his saber to stop these phoenixes from surrounding him. Boom! A heaven-shaking explosion erupted, creating an open space in the phoenix encirclement. Long Chen's palm was covered in blood, but not bothering with it, he charged out. 1,000 Phoenix Fall. Following that, Hu Qianwu formed hand seals, and the 1,000 Phoenix feather dress unleashed what seemed to be a watery light curtain, within which ancient phoenix souls flowed. Boom! Suddenly, the 1,000 phoenixes around Longchen exploded. This was a world-shaking attack, with black cracks spreading through the world. The barrier was left riddled with holes. Everyone was stunned by the destructive might of this attack, thinking that Long Chun had definitely been wiped out of existence. Just as everyone was stunned and wanted to see if Long Chun really had miraculously survived somehow, one of the senior experts shouted urgently, "Quick! Enter Heaven's Screen Mountain, or the barrier will heal." People quickly reacted. Hu Qianwu's attack had blasted thousands of large holes into the barrier, which were big enough for them to enter. Their chance had come. Charge! The heavenly geniuses quickly shot out like arrows loosed from a bow. If they missed this chance, who knew how long they would have to wait? The holes were closing quickly, as if they would recover in just a few breaths. As soon as these geniuses flooded into Heaven's Screen Mountain, startled cries rang out. They had essentially charged into Hu Qianwu and Long Chen's battlefield. Although it was just the outer edge, the intense heat here set them on fire. Some people, unable to resist this heat, instantly turned to ash. Seeing this scene, some of them quickly fled for their lives, trying to escape from Hu Qianwu's domain. Only now did they understand just how terrifying a heavenly chosen was. Previously, they had been separated by the barrier, unable to sense her true might. Now they understood just what kind of existence Long Chen had just fought. The seniors remained outside, watching as their disciples charged into the depths of Heaven's Screen Mountain, their gazes fixed on the twisting space at the core of the battlefield. They couldn't shake the feeling that Long Chen couldn't possibly die so easily. Just then, they heard footsteps. A figure walked out of that destroyed space. A figure soaked in blood walked out of that twisting space, with a pitch-black saber resting on his shoulder. Every step he took made the world quiver. He really didn't die. Xing Wujiang sighed with relief. Long Chen's power had far exceeded his expectations. Others didn't understand just how terrifying Hu Qianwu's last attack was. Just now, the 1,000 phoenix feathers had lit up all at once, and the will of 1,000 phoenixes merged together, capable of destroying not only the physical body but also the soul. For a normal person, a single phoenix's will was already something they couldn't endure. However, Long Chun had endured 1,000 times that. The pressure was unimaginable for outsiders. Each feather represented the supreme power of a phoenix. In her fury, Hu Qianwu had unleashed her mightiest blow, merging the power of 1,000 feathers that could even annihilate a heaven saint. Yet Long Chen survived. Despite being covered in blood, he showed no signs of weakness. His gaze remained sharp. Instead, he resembled an injured wild beast, an existence at its most dangerous state when wounded. Blood oozed out of Long Chen's scales, staining his battle armor red. However, Long Chun didn't use the primal chaos space's energy to heal himself. Strangely, he actually felt a kind of pleasure in this pain. Though his body and soul throbbed from enduring the attack, fear didn't grip Long Chun. Instead, excitement and a formless power silently rose, rising within him. Your last attack wasn't bad. I haven't encountered such a powerful attack in a long time. After all, Not many people in the same realm can injure me, said Long Chun, the blood around him burning. His voice was like a quiet thunder shaking the world. Long Chun continued to walk forward, his footsteps getting heavier, the flames around him growing brighter. Previously, his dragon blood had been burning within him, but now, the essence blood on the surface of his skin was also ablaze, increasing the exhaustion rate. Long Chun had never tried it before, but being injured today brought him a newfound awareness. As the dragon blood on the surface burned, Long Chun felt an invisible energy entering him, something he couldn't quite grasp. It was a kind of exchange, through burning his essence blood. Some kind of energy within heaven and earth flowed into him. It was an entirely novel sensation. This energy was indescribable. Empowered by it, Long Chun felt like an unrivaled battle god, unafraid of any adversary. Long Chun was in no rush to attack, nor was he afraid of his dragon blood being fully exhausted. At this moment, he was immersed in that mystical sensation, feeling as though everything within heaven and earth was under his command. What wild ignorance! Your blind arrogance only reveals your foolishness. Do you think barely surviving my attack means that you're qualified to challenge me? Keep dreaming. After Hu Qianwu recovered from her shock, her blazed dragon bone whip stood erect, and her 1,000 feathers fluctuated. Then, a dragon and phoenix cry echoed. Dragon Phoenix Space Piercer. Hu Qianwu's voice reverberated as feathers streamed over her whip. The power of these two divine weapons merged into one devastating attack. Seeing this, all the experts outside of the barrier felt suffocated. Just as everyone was guessing how Long Chun would block it or just what kind of life-saving trump cards he would take out, Long Chun simply grabbed the blazed dragon bone whip with his hand. What? This time, even the Vice Hall Master was stunned. Did Long Chun just grab the blazed dragon bone whip barehanded? The bone whip quivered, attempting to bite Long Chun, but its neck was ensnared in his hand. His grasp resembled that of a dragon's claw, unyielding and unbreakable. No matter the bone whip struggled, it couldn't break free. Long Chun had entered an entirely different state. Power surged within him, seemingly limitless. He even harbored the feeling that, should he choose, he could gather all his strength and crush the blazed dragon bone whip barehanded. The effortless manner in which Long Chun held the blazed dragon bone whip left everyone stunned. My name is Long Chun, the possessor of the dragon sovereign's blood. How dare a little blazed dragon act wild in front of me? Remarked Long Chun as he eyed the blazed dragon bone whip struggling in his hand. When Long Chun pulled the whip, Hu Qianwu felt an irresistible power pass through it and pulled her toward Long Chun. Meanwhile, Long Chun raised Evil Moon with his free hand. Hu Qianwu was pulled toward Long Chun's saber. At this moment, the most logical reaction was for her to release the blazed dragon bone whip and stabilize herself before attacking again. However, she refused to let go. Having her weapon taken, that was an unacceptable humiliation to her. Heavenly Fate Rotation, 1,000 Phoenix Revolution, Hu Qianwu intoned, forming one-handed seals. The Heavenly Fate disc spun as 1,000 phoenix claws burst forth from her dress, hurtling toward Long Chun. Hu Qianwu's reaction speed was amazing. Even in a disadvantageous position, she reacted quickly. These greenhouse flowers simply couldn't compare to her. She was a true expert. However, nothing more than a flashy technique, Long Chun snorted. Blood-colored lines appeared on Evil Moon, brimming with his purest dragon blood power. Boom! Evil Moon descended upon Hu Qianwu, and those 1,000 claws exploded into oblivion. Multicolored light burst forth, engulfing the battlefield. Evil Moon slashed Hu Qianwu's shoulder, but Long Chun was surprised that his attack didn't cleave her in two. Nevertheless, her shoulder buckled under the force, her bones broken. Suddenly, Hu Qianwu spat out blood, which condensed into an arrow aimed at Long Chun's head. Despite her injuries, she turned the blood she expelled into a deadly counterattack. Boom! Long Chun blocked the blood arrow with Evil Moon's hilt, causing blood mist to permeate the surroundings. Unexpectedly, Hu Qianwu's attack contained a berserk Doyan power that was enough to send Long Chun flying. Experiencing this, Long Chun truly understood the Doyen power of a heavenly chosen. The power behind this quick attack of hers was not inferior to that of a heaven saint divine weapon. Long Chun instinctively let go of the blaze dragon bone whip, and Hu Qianwu pulled it back. But just then, her pupils shrank. The pitch-black evil moon swung toward her neck. What? Outside the barrier, countless experts were stunned. Just as Long Chun was blown back, Evil Moon flew out of his hand and slashed Hu Qianwu's neck. This move exceeded everyone's expectations. While Hu Qianwu's reaction speed was amazing, Long Chun's bizarre attack was just way above it. After all, Long Chun had just used Evil Moon to block Hu Qianwu's attack. For him to suddenly be able to counterattack with it defied the common sense of the martial world. No one could fathom how he managed such a feat. When Hu Qianwu spat out the blood arrow, her Doyen power surged like a flood. Yet, Evil Moon pierced through it and struck her. In front of countless shocked gazes, Evil Moon slashed Hu Qianwu's neck, causing blood to splash around. Long Chen's smile turned cold. Just as he thought it was over, his smile froze. Evil Moon slashed across Hu Qianwu's neck, yet it failed to slice through completely. Instead, it left a cut about an inch deep, and beneath her skin, countless threads became visible. Resembling lotus silk, these threads emanated Doyen power. Astonishingly, Evil Moon was unable to sever them. Long Chun couldn't believe his eyes. Although he knew that Heavenly Chosen was strong, he hadn't expected one to be this abnormal. Even with Evil Moon's sharpness, it couldn't cut through Hu Qianwu's bare neck. What is that? The experts outside were equally baffled. While they didn't know Evil Moon's origins, the fact that it could compete with the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip without sustaining damage showed that it had to be on par in terms of power. The fact that such a formidable weapon couldn't sever Hu Qianwu's neck when it was exposed left them dumbfounded. This battle had already transcended the scope of their understanding. Despite their countless years of existence, they had never seen such a scene before. Those should be heavenly fate lines. Heavenly Chosens are blessed and protected by the heavens. Other than the heavenly Das, no one can kill them, commented a heaven saint. Does that mean that heavenly Chosens cannot be killed? The first heaven saint answered, not necessarily. It is said that the heavenly fate treasure robe can help them survive 3 calamities and 6 disasters. As for what those 3 calamities and 6 tribulations are, no one can say for sure. However, the majority of people assume that they can survive 3 deathly perils and 6 cultivation bottlenecks. After that, the heavenly fate treasure robe will vanish. None of us know how many times Hu Qianwu's heavenly fate treasure robe has been used. If that was the last time, shut your mouth. Qianwu has never used the heavenly fate treasure robe before. Before today, we didn't even know that it existed, barked Zhang Yibin. The heaven saint's expression darkened at being chided. But because the other side was from the Flame Divine Hall, he kept his mouth shut. After all, he wasn't Xing Wujiang. He didn't dare to provoke such a mighty existence. Amidst the hush, a voice suddenly broke the silence. Heavenly Chosens do not possess an undying body. In this world, true immortality is non-existent. If one's power vastly surpasses the heavenly Chosens, it's possible to easily defeat them. However, such actions incur the wrath of heaven. On the other hand, when everyone is within the same realm, the slight power disparity makes it nearly impossible to crush heavenly Chosens with absolute force, as they rely on the heavenly fate treasure robe as their life-saving talisman. Even so, this life-saving talisman can only protect her for a maximum of 3 times. If Long Chun cuts her neck 2 more times, this protective talisman will vanish. City Lord. The speaker was Xing Wujiang. Not caring about the Flame Divine Hall's wrath, he simply said whatever he wanted to say. Moreover, he was incredibly excited now. He hadn't expected Long Chun to be unparalleled when it came to power, strategy, and experience. A perfect all-rounder. As a result, Xing Wujiang was no longer worried. He could tell that Long Chen's power was not inferior to Hu Qianwu's, or at least not by too much. In any case, when it came to mental strength and experience, she was a far cry from Long Chen. That point alone placed Long Chun in an unbeatable position. The Vice Hall Master sneered. Even after living for so many years, you are still so naive. In a clash between experts, a slight difference in power can decide life and death. Qianwu has the heavenly fate treasure robe protecting her, while Long Chun will directly perish if he makes one mistake. Xing Wujiang had clearly spoken for the Flame Divine Hall to hear, so the Vice Hall Master naturally had to counter him. Xing Wujiang indifferently answered, "Hu Qianwu might be strong, but she is ultimately a flower grown in your Flame Divine Hall. My brother is different. He is a true expert tempered by a great deal of tribulations. Perhaps he doesn't have as many treasures as Hu Qianwu, but his experience and wits are enough to make up for that." The Vice Hall Master snorted. "Is that so? Then we'll just see. Just how long can Long Chen burn his blood?" The Vice Hall Master's sight was sharp. Although Long Chen's dragon blood power shocked him, he also knew the shortcoming of igniting essence blood for power. Once Long Chen exhausted his essence blood, his power would plummet. There was no way to maintain this state for long. As long as Hu Qianwu managed to endure, the one to lose their life would ultimately be Long Chen. The moment Evil Moon returned to Long Chen's hand, his blood qi raged, and he attacked. While Hu Qianwu wasn't severely injured after being slashed in the neck, she was terrified, as well as enraged. As a result, she cowered. The Blaze Dragon Bone Whip danced before her, forming a shield formation. When the Vice Hall Master and Xing Wujiang saw this, both of them smiled. The Vice Hall Master smiled because as long as Hu Qianwu was in no rush, she could just stall until Long Chun was exhausted. For him, defending was the right choice. On the other hand, Xing Wujiang knew that Hu Qianwu was afraid, her sharpness deteriorating. In this state, she wouldn't pose any threat to Long Chun at all. Although Xing Wujiang didn't understand Long Chun that deeply, he knew his brother's character. His battle style was attack, attack, and attack, turning offense into defense. The minute he passively defended, it meant defeat. Just then, Evil Moon collided with the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip, and with a strange spinning slash, Long Chun somehow emerged behind Hu Qianwu, bringing Evil Moon down on her. Seeing this scene, Hu Qianwu was startled. She hadn't expected Long Chen's mighty attack to actually be a feint, so she hastily turned around to defend. However, it turned out to be a feint again. Long Chun repeatedly danced with Evil Moon, blinking toward Hu Qianwu's blind spot, causing her to defend against phantom attacks. Suddenly, the Vice Hall Master's expression changed. He extended a finger and struck the barrier, creating a fist-sized opening. "Qianwu, this is a linked attack. You have to interrupt him," roared the Vice Hall Master. "Too late for that. Split the heavens. 7 forms in 1. After unleashing 6 slashes, Long Chun launched a giant saber image that tore through the world, merging all 6 slashes into a final, devastating attack aimed at the panicked Hu Qianwu. Finally feeling afraid, Hu Qianwu strengthened her defense. She was unaware that against someone like Long Chun, defending was like taking the first step toward defeat. Thanks to the Split the Heavens runes on Evil Moon, Long Chun could unleash Split the Heavens at will and even launch their merged slash almost instantly. Back then, Evil Moon had helped Long Chun with the creation of the runes. One reason was to reduce the time for the dragon blood energy accumulation, while another reason was so that once it could control its own power, these runes would be the bridge for its power to merge with Long Chen's. Unfortunately, for the greatest power, they could only accumulate power 1 slash at a time. This was exceedingly difficult in a clash against experts, as the opponent would easily notice the buildup and interrupt it. Nevertheless, if the opponent failed to interrupt, the power of this technique would far surpass that of an attack unleashed simply by activating the runes. When Long Chun finished channeling all 7 slashes, every drop of his dragon blood power was absorbed by Evil Moon. After that, Evil Moon's dragon runes lit up, and a strange flame blazed out of it. While the Vice Hall Master had shouted out a warning, he was too late. Hu Qianwu's soul quivered with terror as an intense sensation of impending death made her hair stand on end. It was her first time feeling the true sensation of death. Even when Long Chen's saber had cut her throat, she hadn't experienced such a feeling. Heavenly fate cycle. Heaven-earth lock. Forming hand seals, Hu Qianwu moved the heavenly fate disc in front of her to turn it into a giant shield. At the same time, the blaze dragon bone whip transformed into a blaze dragon diagram and appeared on top of the heavenly fate disc. Meanwhile, the 1,000 phoenix feather dress emitted 1,000 rays of divine light that illuminated the heavenly fate disc. Under the threat of death, Hu Qianwu unleashed all her power, no longer holding back in the slightest. She operated the 2 Heaven Saint divine weapons and heavenly fate disc to their fullest. Boom! When Evil Moon collided with the heavenly fate disc, a black spot appeared at the point of contact, rapidly expanding into a black hole that devoured all colors from the world. Darkness spread, accompanied by a heaven-shaking explosion. The black domain then struck the barrier of the mountain, causing it to bulge. The experts outside the barrier were horrified and hastily fled. Even the Vice Hall Master and Xing Wujiang retreated, unwilling to be touched by the encroaching darkness. Moreover, the barrier possessed terrifying curse energy that would instantly afflict those above the divine venerate realm upon contact. Even heaven saints wouldn't necessarily survive it. Once they retreated, their gazes remained locked on the battlefield. As the darkness slowly faded, they saw 2 figures flying back. Both Long Chun and Hu Qianwu spat out blood, injured in this exchange. Heavens, is Long Chun a monster? He's actually able to press a heavenly chosen to this extent. People were amazed, unable to believe this result. After all, Long Chen's opponent was a heavenly chosen, an unrivaled existence beneath the heavens. Truly heaven-defying. Even most of the heaven saints were shocked. The stronger they were, the more they understood just how terrifying a heavenly chosen was. The heavenly fate disc is damaged. Impossible. When they looked at Hu Qianwu's heavenly fate disc, they saw that not only had it lost its light, but it was even cracked. A heavenly fate disc represents the laws of heaven and earth, the karmic luck of the heavens, and the function of the 10,000 Daos. How could it crack? The shocked Vice Hall Master suddenly shouted, "Qianwu, run! The weapon in his hand definitely isn't ordinary. You forgot to pierce the barrier first." "She can't hear you," mocked Xing Wujiang. After enduring the last collision, the barrier was as thin as a cicada's wing. However, as long as it wasn't broken, no voice could possibly go in. At this moment, many experts hastily retreated from the deformed barrier. If the Vice Hall Master were to pierce it again, it might even explode, and all of them would be wiped out of existence. Indeed, the Vice Hall Master raised his hand, but he halted midway. If the barrier really did explode, even Long Chun and Hu Qianwu would also die. Hence, he decided not to do it. Within the barrier, Long Chun and Hu Qianwu hacked up blood again, their auras plummeting. Unable to maintain the dragon blood battle armor any longer, he transformed back to his usual appearance. Meanwhile, Hu Qianwu's heavenly fate disc creaked, on the verge of shattering. Hastily forming hand seals, she caused it to become illusory and return behind her. "Now you're out of energy. As I said, I'm the ultimate victor," said Hu Qianwu. Wiping off some blood, she retrieved the blaze dragon bone whip and looked at Long Chun coldly as she started walking toward him. "Are they going to keep fighting?" Facing Hu Qianwu, Long Chun lazily brought Evil Moon back to his shoulder and said, "That plate of yours is pretty tough. It didn't break, but I feel like it'll break with one more attack. I'm curious, if that plate breaks, will you still be a heavenly chosen?" Long Chun wasn't the only one curious, as everyone else wondered the same thing. Other than the Flame Divine Halls people, the others hadn't seen a heavenly fate disc before. They were curious about what would happen if it was destroyed. "I'm also curious, but I don't think you have that ability," sneered Hu Qianwu. She suddenly quickened her footsteps and remarked, "Although I don't have much energy left, the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip and 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress still have some. It's enough to kill you." The Blaze Dragon Bone Whip rose, accompanied by a resounding dragon cry. Flames soared as the whip pierced toward Long Chun like a spear. Suddenly, A hand covered in stars firmly caught the whip in its grasp. What? He still has energy? They're both monsters. The two of them had just fought a world-shaking battle. According to normal sense, even heaven saints would be completely exhausted by such exertion of energy. You are just acting tough after using up all your energy. Are you trying to scare me? How naive, sneered Longchen. In truth, Qianwu was already exhausted, but she was unwilling to admit defeat. Her powerful appearance was just an act to scare Longchen away. As long as he fled, she would be the victor. In other words, she was gambling on whether or not Longchen would continue to fight her. Regrettably, Longchen was more aware than Qianwu of just how little energy she had left. Against her in this state, he didn't even need to summon his 7-star battle armor. With just a bit of his astral energy covering his hand, he could grab the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip. Longchen then pulled the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip and swung Evil Moon down. It was the same move as before with even the exact angle. However, this time, Longchen directly swung it at her neck instead of her shoulder. By the time Qianwu reacted, Longchen's saber was already right next to her, shocking her. She wondered how Longchen still had so much power. Now, it was already too late for her to dodge. But she also couldn't just let go of the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip. Gritting her teeth, she raised her arm to block Longchen's attack. She was betting on the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress's defenses to block it. Boom! Crack! The 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress was fine, but Qianwu's arm was cut off. As for Evil Moon, it went flying. By igniting his blood, Longchen managed to push the Scarlet Dragon battle armor to its peak state, but he had reached his limit. His physical body was no longer able to endure it. Meanwhile, Qianwu endured the pain as she fled, channeling all her energy into the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip to get Longchen away from her. Big brother Longchen, grab her hair, cried out Huilinger. Just as Qianwu turned around to run, her hair swung through the air. Without even thinking, Longchen grabbed it. No, I want the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress's feathers, prompted Huilinger. Just then, Qianwu's 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress lit up, and Longchen felt her hair become like molten metal, burning and slipping out of his grasp. Clenching his teeth, Longchen's other hand swung out. Focusing his astral energy on his hand, he reached for Qianwu's back and yanked. 3 feathers were forcibly ripped off of the beautiful dress. Qianwu was completely enraged, but she no longer dared to fight Longchen in her state and rushed off. As she left, her furious roar echoed. Damn you! Just you wait. Qianwu, will tear your corpse into 10,000 pieces sooner or later. Wait, your feathers! Longchen raised the feathers in his hand, but she was already gone. Suddenly, those 3 feathers grew from around 3 inches long to 3 feet and started to burn, trying to escape his hold. They are 3 original true feathers. Only now did Longchen get a clear look at the feathers. Every single one of them gave off the might of a heaven saint. However, they seemed to be restrained by some strange energy, causing them to be unable to unleash their full potential. If they could unleash their full power, in Longchen's state, he wouldn't be able to hold them. Big brother Longchen, toss them in here. I'll subdue them, urged Huilinger excitedly. Longchen had no choice but to toss them into the primal chaos space. After all, he was already out of energy. If he didn't do this, they'd fly away. After sending them into the primal chaos space, he looked outside the barrier. He then gave Xing Wujiang a signal of victory and shrugged at the Flame Divine Hall's people. His expression seemed to be saying, so heavenly chosens are only at this level. After that arrogant display, Longchen delved deeper into Heaven's Screen Mountain. The moment he escaped their sight, he almost collapsed. With haste, he took out a medicinal pill and looked for a place to rest. Fuck! Heavenly chosen really are monsters, cursed Longchen as he sat down. That girl had yet to fully awaken. Once heavenly chosens fully awaken, they will truly be terrifying, said the Earth Cauldron. Senior, you shouldn't have stopped me. If I went all out, she definitely wouldn't have managed to get away. grumbled Long Chun. In truth, the moment Long Chun decided to kill her, he was willing to pay any price to eliminate her. However, the Earth Cauldron did not let him do so. As a result, she managed to get away. I was going to get her Blaze Dragon Bone Whip, the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress, and her life. But now I didn't get anything, grumbled Long Chun again. I was going to get her Blaze Dragon Bone Whip, the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress, and her life. But now I didn't get anything, grumbled Long Chun again. He got angry just thinking about all this effort ended up with him getting just 3 feathers. You wouldn't be able to kill her, said the Earth Cauldron. I don't believe it, retorted Long Chun, shaking his head. He was clearly stronger than her. He had far more combat experience, and their intelligence was not on the same level, so why wouldn't he be able to kill her? She's not an idiot. If she couldn't beat you, wouldn't she run? If she wanted to run, you wouldn't be able to stop her. Let's disregard the heavenly fate treasure robe that can help her escape 3 calamities. If you really force her, she can detonate the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip or 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress, and you'll end up dead or close to it, replied the Earth Cauldron. How could she possess the power to detonate a Heaven Saint divine weapon? Asked Long Chun, jumping in shock. Divine venerates don't normally have that power, but she is a heavenly chosen, and those 2 divine weapons have also been refined into her weapons. How else could she draw out such power from them? She only fled just now because her remaining energy was not enough to detonate one of them. Otherwise, with her temper, she'd definitely sacrifice a Heaven Saint divine weapon for your life, answered the Earth Cauldron. Hearing that, Long Chun couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. If a Heaven Saint divine weapon were to self-detonate, it could genuinely take his life, especially while he was holding the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip. The Earth Cauldron added, if that were to happen, even if you did survive, you'd be severely wounded. Then you'd be the one fleeing. Most importantly, if she were to really go crazy and detonate both divine weapons, what could you do? Even if I were to appear and help you block it, she would have lost both divine weapons. What would you get out of it? Long Chun nodded. Knowing he was wrong, he immediately started sucking up. Senior really is wise. I should learn more from you. Boom! Just then, a loud sound came from the primal chaos space, making him jump. He hastily checked on it. Within the primal chaos space, Huolinger was holding one of the ancient phoenix true feathers. At this moment, flames rose on top of it, and it was vaguely possible to see a phoenix flying within each flame. Huolinger, what are you doing? Asked Long Chun. Big brother Long Chun. I'm awakening its spirit and using the sun flame to commune with it. It has already submitted to me. Now I'm giving it some benefits so that it'll be fully loyal to me, explained Huolinger. You're getting smarter. You even know the power of kindness, praised Long Chun as he rubbed Huolinger's head. As a result, the phoenix figure inside the flames spat out a wave of fire at him. Hey! Huolinger raised her hand, sucking in the flames so that they didn't hurt Long Chun. That's my big brother. If you dare to be rude to my big brother, I'll destroy you right now. Hearing this, the phoenix figure became calm. However, its gaze still wasn't very friendly. Perhaps it had a grudge against Long Chun because he had ripped it off of the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress. It was now absorbing the Fusong tree's flames to strengthen itself, its aura growing increasingly powerful. The feather's light was shining brighter, like it was a phoenix being reborn. The original masters of these true feathers had perished, but their wills remained. As long as their true feathers lasted, their wills would not disperse. Before this, these feathers were nourished on the 1,000 Phoenix Feather Dress. However, the Flame Divine Hall never managed to fully satisfy their hunger. After all, the flame energy they provided was split into 1,000 portions, which was only enough to maintain the feathers' divinity. Strengthening them was impossible, as Huqianwu couldn't feed them that much. However, in the primal chaos space, there were 3,000 Fusong trees creating an ocean's worth of sun flame. Finally, these feathers had an inexhaustible feast before them. Why aren't you subduing the other 2 as well? Asked Long Chen. Huolinger smiled. Those 2 are very prideful and refuse to submit. But this fellow is smarter. I'm going to raise it as my core flame feather. Later on, I'll use it to subdue the other two. That will make it easier. Once all three of them are completely under my command, Big Brother Long Chun, you should release them. Release them? Long Chun cocked his head at her. Hee hee, that's right, release them. I'll make it seem as if they managed to escape on their own. Then they'll return to the 1,000 Phoenix feather dress, and the three of them will incite a rebellion among the other 997 ancient Phoenix true feathers. Huolinger giggled, a crafty light in her eyes. Haha, you really are a little minx. You're getting smarter. However, are you not afraid of them not returning? Asked Long Chun. Not at all. In truth, they're very pitiful. Huachenwu can't even fill their stomachs. As a result, they can't release their full power. We have what they need right here, so why would they refuse? The main problem is that the ancient Phoenix race is very prideful. They won't submit so easily. However, I'm sure that in front of this enticing bait, they'll make the smartest decision for themselves. Hee hee, and it won't just be the 1,000 Phoenix feather dress. I believe the Blaze Dragonbone whip will make that choice as well, replied Huolinger, her smile like that of a beautiful little fox. Long Chun hadn't expected her intelligence to grow so high. However, Long Chun did feel like this was a bit dangerous as Huachenwu had absolute control over the 1,000 Phoenix feather dress. It wouldn't be so easy for it to defect. Even so, he didn't say anything further about his worries. He viewed Huolinger and Lei Linger as his little sisters. If they wanted to do something, he let them. Although those 3 feathers were precious, he didn't mind losing them if things didn't turn out as planned. Long Chun focused on his recovery. While the Scarlet Dragon battle armor he summoned by igniting his blood was shockingly powerful, it also placed a large burden on him. Long Chun spent 3 full days to fully recover, yet he believed that Huachenwu was definitely no better off. Even with her Doyan power aiding her, her recovery speed wouldn't be faster than his. Long Chen's wounds healed slowly due to the Doyan power ravaging his body, which made it more difficult for the primal chaos space's energy to heal him. However, the power of his dragon blood also contained some wild laws. Huachenwu would need to first expel them before she could start to heal. The previous battle had shown Long Chun just how terrifying Heavenly Chosens were, and it also made him realize who his true opponent was. Long Chun believed that Huachenwu still had some trump cards up her sleeves, but he wasn't afraid of them. In the end, a powerful trump card needed to be held by a true expert. Otherwise, it would be worthless. Still, this battle gave Long Chun a sense of alarm. If Huachenwu had possessed more combat experience, it really would have been a bitter fight. By the time Long Chun recovered, Huolinger had finished refining the 3 feathers, her spiritual seal placed on them. This spiritual seal was not a slave seal and was more like a contractual seal. Moreover, since Huolinger was not human, her seal was almost impossible for others to sense. When Long Chun released the 3 feathers, they immediately tore through the void but put on an extremely weak appearance. Seeing them acting properly, Long Chun knew that they had been fully won over by Huolinger's enticement. He was unsure whether the 3 feathers would manage to incite a rebellion within the 1,000 Phoenix feather dress. He could only wait until the next time he encountered Huachenwu. Long Chun took out a piece of paper with a rather sloppy map drawn on it. This was given to him by Mo Nian. There was a marker on the map, and according to Mo Nian, it indicated the location of a great hidden secret. I wonder what he's up to right now. Well, I should get to work. If he ends up with all the treasure while I'm empty-handed, he'll definitely laugh at me. Long Chun looked at the surroundings before summoning his lightning wings and shooting off like a bolt of lightning. He focused entirely on speed, not concealing himself. His divine sense recklessly scanned the surroundings as he traveled. After an hour of flying, he sensed some fluctuations. Then, he heard a powerful roar, and a surge of powerful devil chi gushed out. A group of people had managed to reach this place by following a secret treasure map. Due to the presence of devil creatures guarding this location, they were approaching stealthily. However, Long Chen's appearance instantly disturbed a devil creature, causing these people to flee for their lives. Any one of these devil creatures would be more than enough to wipe them out. It's him. Damn. How is he here? Startled cries rang out. They were amongst the first group to get through the barrier. Having been burned half dead, they had to recover first before they could treasure hunt. However, as soon as they recovered, they ran into Long Chen again, so they cursed their bad luck. Just as they fled, a black saber fell from the sky, cutting a mountain in two, and when Long Chen's figure flashed by, the roaring devil creature fell silent. Did he just? Those people quickly ran back and saw blood splatters covering the land, with no devil creatures in sight. Those people stared in disbelief. Had they watched Long Chen and Hu Qianwu's battle until the end, they wouldn't have been so shocked. Without decreasing his speed, Long Chen killed the devil creature and threw the corpse on the primal chaos space's soil, where it would slowly devour the corpse. After that, Long Chen continued onward, slaying any devil creatures he encountered on his way. However, he chose to go around the territory of Heaven's Saint devil creatures. Not because he was afraid, but because he was rushing for time. After several days of flying, Long Chen saw that the mountains faded away, replaced by an endless prairie. I've arrived. Long Chen eyed this flat plain of grass. For some reason, his nerves instantly tensed. It seems that this place really isn't simple. The green grass was like a mattress stretching as far as the eye could see. It would have been a beautiful and peaceful sight if not for its strange green color, which induced nervousness. Each blade of grass stood 3 inches tall, identical in height. They resembled swords pointed towards the sky, forming an eerie uniformity. Even more unsettling, a glimmering light danced atop the grass. While it should have been a sign of thriving vitality, it made Long Chen's hair stand on end. Something's wrong. Long Chen's instinct directly detected that this grass was dangerous, too bizarre. After all, there weren't any other weeds within this lawn of grass, not even trees or any rocks. Long Chen reached out to grab one stalk of the green grass. Just then, the tiniest of thorns sprouted from the grass, almost imperceptible to the naked eye. It stabbed Long Chen's finger, causing a tingling sensation to appear on his fingertip. Amazing! Long Chen remarked, surprised. Although he wasn't in his combat state, his tough skin was not something an ordinary weapon could penetrate easily. While the thorn wasn't able to break through, just the light glimmering on it was enough to make his finger feel slightly numb. It was highly toxic. If it were to actually pierce the flesh, it could be fatal. Furthermore, the entire plain of grass was composed of the same toxic variety. This grass has corrosive power and also contains the chi of corpse devils. The roots go deep into the ground, so there must be something there. Nian was right about there being some kind of treasure in this area. Nian hadn't even come here, but he still managed to sense that there was something extraordinary here. If he wasn't pressed for time, he definitely would have come here himself. However, he ended up leaving this mission to Long Chen. Long Chen let go of the blade of grass and started walking deeper into this area. The further he went, the more bustling this strange grass became. After 2 hours, it had gone from being 3 inches tall to being a foot tall. The stalks were as sharp as blades. Although Long Chen was walking across the air, he didn't dare to go too fast and was paying attention to any changes in the surroundings. Just what kind of terrifying existence lay hidden here? Long Chen spent over an hour walking through this place, and the surroundings gradually grew dark. He was like a tiny boat on the sea, looking incredibly minuscule, like he would be devoured at any moment. The further he went, the darker it became. This nameless grass was now 3 feet tall and swayed in the wind, seemingly concealing something. Someone else would have long since fled in fear, but Long Chen didn't care. His attention was on what lay beneath the grass. As he was traveling, without any warning, a black bolt suddenly shot toward him. It was a rat the size of a fist. Its entire body was black, and it even had a pair of tiny wings. Long Chen instantly reached out to catch the rat, but he abruptly took out a sword to block it. The rat's sharp teeth punctured the sword, causing sparks to fly and 2 small holes to appear in the blade. Long Chen jumped in shock. This was a saint weapon, but this rat had essentially destroyed it along with its item spirit. Long Chen examined the rat more closely and suddenly exclaimed, "It's a ghost nether rat!" Just then, The rat lost its ferociousness and fled. You think you can run now? When Long Chun waved his hand, the surrounding space twisted, and the ghost nether rat bounced back. Long Chun caught it this time. The ghost nether rat screamed and struggled with all its might, but Long Chun was holding its neck so it couldn't bite him. My luck's not bad. I managed to run into a ghost nether rat, said Long Chun as he eyed it. There was something strange under the rat's belly, like a sinister face. Seeing it, Long Chun was delighted. This thing was a treasure. The ghost nether rat was an extremely rare beast. Its teeth were venomous, and its wings were not there for flying purposes but to store its venom, which was as precious as immortal metal. However, in comparison to its essence blood, its venom was practically worthless. The ghost nether rat's essence blood was a supreme essence blood from which heavenly water could be extracted. Heavenly water was a kind of divine water from the primal chaos era, and it had long since vanished from the natural world. Heavenly water could now only be refined and synthesized through other means. It was something necessary for refining supreme yang pills or supreme yang weapons. This was based on the principle that yin and yang could not exist without each other. Whether it was yin or yang, they could not be 100% pure. If it was, it would either disperse or explode. At the peak of yin was yang, and at the peak of yang was yin. This was a necessary law of the heavenly Taos. Long Chun had refined supreme yang pills before, but they were all beneath the level of saint pills. He had yet to refine any supreme yang saint pills because he couldn't find the necessary ingredient capable of balancing the energy of the pill. Both Long Chun and the Earth Cauldron had been unhappy with this. Even the best cook could not make anything without ingredients. Thus, Long Chun was exceptionally excited to run into a ghost nether rat. He quickly examined it to confirm that he hadn't falsely recognized it. Your luck is taking a turn for the better, said the Earth Cauldron, a trace of excitement creeping into its voice. Hee, new year, new me, Long Chun chuckled. He let the ghost nether rat struggle in his hand. However, after struggling and screaming for a while, it suddenly started twitching. Long Chun then took out a dagger and cut it open, causing a translucent liquid to pour out. With a jade cup, he caught all of it. That was its essence blood. Once Long Chun was done bleeding it, the surrounding grass started to move wildly, and streaks of black light shot toward him. As expected, the stories are true. The ghost nether rats live in packs, remarked Long Chun as he saw many black figures shooting out of the grass. He hadn't directly killed the first ghost nether rat exactly to let it scream and draw its comrades over. It was said that their characters were ruthless, and once their venom sac was full, they would feel so uncomfortable that they wanted to use their venom immediately. If they didn't have a target to attack, they would unleash their venom on each other, which wouldn't matter much because of their resistance to venom. Once they released their venom, their berserk state along with their guts would instantly bottom out. The smallest disturbance would make them run. On the other hand, when their venom was maxed out, they became nuts. Even though their essence blood was priceless, someone who wanted it had to at least manage to survive the encounter with them in their crazy state. At this moment, a streak of lightning exploded, striking millions of ghost nether rats, causing them to stiffen. Evil Moon then appeared in Long Chun's hand, and a wave of divine light sliced through the air, turning those ghost nether rats into blood mist. Long Chun didn't have to do much. The Earth Cauldron directly sucked their blood into the primal chaos space and refined it into heavenly water. The Earth Cauldron couldn't intentionally kill other beings, but it could help Long Chun deal with many other things. After all, this heavenly water was extremely important to both it and Long Chun. Careful! The Earth Cauldron shouted. The next moment, the space around Long Chun collapsed, revealing a black hole that threatened to devour Long Chun. Long Chun sensed it as well, but before he could do anything, he was already sucked into the vortex and unable to escape. 6 split the heaven runes then lit up on Evil Moon, and Long Chun swung it at the center of the vortex. Boom! The vortex exploded. Within the dissipating heavenly Tao runes, Long Chun saw a certain figure, and he couldn't help but gasp. It was another ghost nether rat, yet it was enormous. An ordinary ghost nether rat was about the size of a rabbit, but this one was like a bull, and its eyes were scarlet. "This is a ghost nether rat king?" Long Chen exclaimed in delight. A ghost nether rat king that had reached the heaven saint realm. Its essence blood was invaluable, and even heaven saints would go crazy for it. It really is a ghost nether rat king, with an extremely pure bloodline to boot. "Heavens, why is your luck so good today?" wondered the earth cauldron with an amused tone. Suddenly, the ghost nether rat king let out an ear-piercing screech that caused Long Chen's soul to shudder. He was shocked to find himself being forced back. But just then, he realized that he hadn't moved at all. "Shit! It's a spiritual attack." Long Chen was horrified. This ghost nether rat king could actually force his soul out of his body. Just then, the ghost nether rat king pounced on Long Chen, its giant teeth chomping toward Long Chen's head. "Stop right there!" shouted Long Chen, his soul rushing back into his body. However, the Rat King was just too fast. Furthermore, Huolinger and Lei Linger were shocked to find that they couldn't come out of the primal chaos space to save him. Boom! The ghost nether Rat King's teeth slammed down at Earth Cauldron and somehow gnawed off a layer of skin of the Earth Cauldron. After that, the ghost nether Rat King jumped back and spat out this layer of skin, along with its teeth. What it ended up biting off was a large piece of rust. When this rust fell into its mouth, it instantly had a bad feeling and spat it out, but it was too late. Its mouth had started to rapidly decay. "Quick, now!" shouted the Earth Cauldron. Long Chen's soul returned to his body, and he immediately swung Evil Moon. His attack landed right on the ghost nether Rat King's neck. However, Evil Moon ended up stuck between two neck bones. Startled, Long Chen shouted and ignited his dragon blood, summoning the dragon blood battle armor. He then pulled out of Evil Moon and swung it again. At last, the ghost nether Rat King's head fell to the ground. But even before it landed, it had rotted away into a pool of rotting pus. As soon as Long Chen killed it, the Earth Cauldron sucked its headless corpse into the primal chaos space, not letting it be stained by the rotting blood. "That was dangerous," sighed the Earth Cauldron. "It really was." Long Chen nodded. His back was soaked in sweat. Just now, if it hadn't been for the Earth Cauldron, he would have lost his head. In Long Chen's battle with Hu Qianwu, both of them had unleashed powerful techniques, and Long Chen had come face to face with death many times. However, all the danger of that battle paled in comparison to this one moment. "Senior, what kind of divine ability was that?" "It was absolutely terrifying," asked Long Chen, still shuddering. The most terrifying thing was that there was no way to defend against it. Even after experiencing it, he had no idea what to do against it next time. There was practically no way to deal with it. This is one of the ghost nether rat's strongest divine abilities, the ghost nether soul strip. If you were to fight it one against one, it would be powerless against you. However, you have killed so many ghost nether rats just now, and their deaths formed a unique curse domain, which strengthened the ghost nether rat king's technique. Essentially, you were facing the divine abilities of all the slain ghost nether rats simultaneously. Even if the Devil Fall City's city lord or the Flame Divine Hall's vice hall master were here, they wouldn't be able to bear it, let alone you. "So I don't know whether to say your luck is good or bad," answered the Earth Cauldron. Previously, the Earth Cauldron had been amazed by Long Chen's luck. He not only encountered a whole pack of ghost nether rats but also a ghost nether rat king. However, when all of his luck was added together, the ghost nether soul strip ended up terrifyingly powerful, being amplified over 10 times. If the Earth Cauldron hadn't been here, Long Chen would have died 100 times over. After this, the Earth Cauldron wanted to take back what it had said about Long Chen's luck turning for the better. Long Chen felt much better after hearing the Earth Cauldron's explanation. If he encountered such a situation again, he knew what he would do then. After calming down his emotions, Long Chen was about to set off again when the Earth Cauldron suddenly said, "I have an idea. Are you interested?" "What idea?" asked Long Chen. He was definitely interested when he heard the Earth Cauldron say such a thing. Based on his experience, if the Earth Cauldron were to say such a thing, something good was about to happen. Are you going to tell me?" asked Long Chun after the earth cauldron didn't reply. Don't rush. I'm calculating the karma of this matter. I'm wondering if it will be sensed by the heavenly Taos. After all, the amount of karma you've accumulated is immense. I'll do my best to reduce it as much as I can, responded the earth cauldron. Long Chun nodded and fell silent, no longer disturbing it. Eventually, the earth cauldron said, It will invoke some karma, but it won't be a large problem. Let us refine a dragon blood extreme yang pill. What is that? Asked Long Chun. He had never heard of such a thing. It is a saint pill capable of temporarily multiplying the power of your dragon blood battle armor by 5 times. Furthermore, the side effects are no worse than when you burn your dragon blood. 5 times. Long Chun jumped in shock. When he ignited his dragon blood to summon the dragon blood battle armor, it was around 3 times stronger than his usual dragon blood battle armor. However, this pill had an even stronger effect with fewer side effects. Long Chun's recovery had taken a lot of time and effort, not just because the Doyen power reduced his efficiency, but also because burning his essence blood had left him in a deficient state. Replenishing it was time-consuming. This pill will not just increase the power of your ignited blood, but it will also reduce the damage to your body as much as possible. You'll be able to maintain the dragon blood battle armor for longer, remarked the earth cauldron. Then what are we waiting for? Let's refine it right now. How could Long Chun possibly resist the allure of such a divine pill? The earth cauldron replied, Refining it will take some time, and you won't have as much time to search for treasures. You should also understand that even a short moment can affect the results of your treasure hunting. Furthermore, I'm not able to help you with such a thing. You should make this decision yourself. I'm just offering the possibility. With a smile, Long Chun said, With my luck, finding any treasures is quite hard, so I'd prefer to increase my power. When the time comes, if I find someone I don't like, I'll have higher odds of taking their treasures then. The earth cauldron smiled at Long Chun's answer. Long Chun knew himself well. The earth cauldron understood that one reason his luck was so bad was due to the numerous things he possessed that drew the envy of the heavens. As one of the 10 great primal chaos divine items, the earth cauldron was a major contributor to that. Mo Nien had also said that Long Chun had no hope of finding anything. It was more efficient to kill his enemies and take their treasures. Mo Nien truly knew Long Chun. The earth cauldron then told Long Chun to make a choice which would reduce the karma. Moreover, if he ended up missing out on a treasure because of this, he couldn't blame it. Although Long Chun wasn't such a petty person, for the meticulous earth cauldron, it was better to explain the pros and cons first. If that's your decision, let's find a place to refine it. Put a marker here so that we can directly do a spatial transportation afterward, said the earth cauldron. Following the earth cauldron's instructions, Long Chun set up a transportation marker and hid it so that other experts wouldn't find it. This way, he could save a great deal of time when he came back. After everything was arranged, the earth cauldron pointed Long Chun in a direction, and he directly activated a supreme transportation formation. He didn't even know how far he had gone. When he arrived in a barren land, he hastily checked his formation disk and found that his marker was still within its range. After that, he relaxed. If he went so far that the marker vanished, it meant that he had gone way too far and wouldn't be able to use a transportation formation to get back. Come. First, we'll refine the ghost Nether Rat King's essence blood into heavenly water, said the earth cauldron as it appeared before Long Chun. We're going to start off with it? Long Chun was surprised. Some things should be used when you get them. There's no need to be too stingy, replied the earth cauldron. It knew that Long Chun liked to save the best things for last, but that wasn't always a good habit. At this moment, a flame ignited within the earth cauldron, and Long Chun could see the ghost Nether Rat King's essence blood flowing within it. He could vaguely hear its piercing cry as well. Although it was dead, its will had yet to disperse. Without the earth cauldron's reminder, Long Chun placed a hand on it, and his spiritual strength gushed out. His Yuan spirit dove into the earth cauldron. The interior of the earth cauldron was a world of flames. When Long Chun entered it, the ghost Nether Rat King's essence blood instantly took form and pounced on him. The ghost Nether Rat King let out a strange cry. Even in his Yuan spirit form, it could stun Long Chun for a bit, but that feeling passed in an instant. His soul wasn't stripped off of his body this time. Even so, this feat still startled Long Chun. The ghost Nether Rat King was already dead, and all that remained of it was its discarnate will. However, it was still able to unleash a divine ability with this level of power.n/o/vel/b/in.c//om. Even without those sacrifices boosting the power of its attack, it could still stun Long Chun. Long Chun was amazed by how strong this ghost Nether Rat King was. An ancient species really cannot be underestimated. However, this place is my territory. You are in no place to struggle. Long Chun then pressed a hand on the ghost Nether Rat King's head. Countless runes lit up within this world of flames, and the ghost Nether Rat King exploded. Boom! Its discarnate will vanished, leaving behind only the essence blood. The earth cauldron could effortlessly kill it, but it hadn't done so. Thus, Long Chun did it himself. After its discarnate will was gone, the essence blood stopped fighting. The flames swept over them, eliminating the impurities within, causing them to clear up. As more time passed, 10,000 drops of water appeared, each incomparably pure and clean. Without personally witnessing it, Long Chun wouldn't have believed that the ferocious ghost Nether Rat King had something so pure in its body. Every single drop contained a supreme energy. As the earth cauldron continued to refine them, these drops ultimately merged into a large sphere. At this moment, the earth cauldron called out Huolinger and used the strongest flame to refine them. After multiple hours, the giant sphere gradually shrank until it was just the size of a thumb. 10,000 supreme runes flowed within it, and its energy scared even Long Chun. The main ingredients will be 10 drops of your dragon blood, 1 drop of 7-color supreme blood, and 1 drop of violet blood. The supporting ingredients will be the Great Sun Sunflower, Ardent Sun Lucerne, 7-leaf violet gold wisteria. The earth cauldron rattled off over 300 medicinal ingredients. It actually requires my violet blood and 7-color supreme blood? Long Chun was baffled by this. His dragon blood, 7-color supreme blood, and violet blood were competitors, all trying to become the top dog in his body. There was no way they would merge. Yes, this is for you. After you add them, they will suppress a bit of the dragon blood extreme yang pill's power, but they will also balance out some of the damage the pill will have on your body. It can actually be considered cheating. Without it, I'd worry about you not being able to endure the impact, explained the earth cauldron. Long Chun still had no idea how strong the dragon blood extreme yang pill was, but due to his confidence in the earth cauldron, he didn't ask too many questions. He immediately squeezed out 10 drops of dragon blood. Following the earth cauldron's instructions, he used his strongest heart blood. Although the blood from the space between his eyebrows was actually purer, due to the extraction method, when it came to pure energy, the essence blood from the heart was better. After extracting 10 drops of his dragon blood, Long Chun felt a wave of dizziness. Even for Long Chun, losing this essence blood was not a laughing matter. Fortunately, it was just 10 drops. Otherwise, he might not be able to bear it. After that, Long Chun tried to extract his violet blood and 7-color supreme blood, but it was a bit more difficult due to them being suppressed by his dragon blood. Even after extracting 10 drops of his dragon essence blood, Long Chun couldn't feel his 7-color supreme blood and violet blood grow active. In any case, while extracting any of them, he couldn't break the balance between essence bloods, or his 7-color supreme blood and violet blood might directly enter a hibernation state. With great effort, Long Chun managed to extract 1 drop from each of them. Stars spun in his head as this work had to be extremely meticulous. After extracting the essence blood, Long Chun sat down and started recovering. As for the initial refining of medicinal powders, he left it to Huolinger to complete. After all, she could already be considered a grandmaster alchemist. Other than some particular medicinal pills that she couldn't refine on her own, she was able to refine pills independently. Refining medicinal powders and extracting their essence could not be simpler for a grandmaster like her. When Long Chun recovered, everything was already prepared. Long Chun instantly got to work refining the actual pill. The main ingredients were the first to enter the cauldron. Fortunately, the ratio of the different bloods was based on their ratio in Long Chun's body, so they didn't start rejecting each other immediately. In other words, his dragon blood constituted around 80%, while his violet blood and 7-color supreme blood occupied 10% each. His dragon blood was dominant, with the other two playing a supportive role, aiding in enduring powerful impacts and accelerating recovery. However, they weren't exactly happy with this. At this moment, they started a rebellion, but their power was too weak to resist the dragon blood. The 3 essence bloods merged inside of the earth cauldron. A violet spot appeared on his dragon blood, and a 7-color pattern appeared within the earth cauldron, revolving within it. This revolution was a result of the 3 bloods fighting. Although they all came from Long Chun, once they left his body, their resistance toward each other grew. Hence, merging them would require a special process. As they merged, Long Chun found that his 7-color supreme blood and violet blood were fighting back more fiercely. His dragon blood was suppressing his 7-color supreme blood, trying to make it submit, but his 7-color supreme blood, despite clearly being much weaker, refused to admit defeat. On the other hand, his violet blood had stopped participating in the fight. Instead, it was observing the two of them. The violet spot had moved around randomly, but it suddenly ceased its movement. Long Chun then found that the violet spot was not actually motionless. It was rapidly spinning at the center. Seeing this scene, Long Chun was taken aback. It seemed that his violet blood wanted to get stronger in order to balance his other 2 bloods. As time passed, the violet spot slowly calmed down. When it became still, the sphere of blood contained a dragon mark, a 7-color thread, and a violet spot at its center. Just then, Huolinger started adding one medicinal powder after another. When these medicinal powders entered the earth cauldron, an intense energy unfurled. The blood sphere seemed to have been provoked and started to crazily absorb these energies. Long Chun saw the world within the cauldron twist and turn. The blood sphere was incredibly powerful, displaying a phenomenon he had never seen before. And this was just the start. He could only imagine what would happen during the pill condensation process. The earth cauldron started shaking, a sign that the pill was starting to take an embryonic form. However, the wild energy made it look like it might explode out of control at any moment. After absorbing the energy of so many medicinal ingredients, the blood sphere had new runes on it, its energy erupting like it wanted to break free from the earth cauldron's restraints. Long Chun couldn't help but exclaim, "What power!" His essence blood had gone crazy after the addition of these medicinal ingredients, and he suddenly grew worried when he thought about consuming it. Suddenly, after absorbing all the medicinal powder, the pill smashed into the earth cauldron's inner wall like a shooting star. Long Chun tried to keep the earth cauldron steady, feeling an immense force pass through him. With a grunt, he was sent flying by the impact. His blood churned within him, and he couldn't help but feel shocked. If he were to consume this pill, he would definitely explode. N/O/vel/B/in.C//in.C//om. Just then, some kind of mist appeared within the earth cauldron. The medicinal pill continued striking the cauldron's interior, but after passing through this mist, it seemed provoked and started to attack even more intensely. The earth cauldron rumbled, and specks of rust fell from it. Long Chun hastily caught them. "Those things that fall on their own have lost the power of time. They aren't very useful to you," said the earth cauldron. They really aren't that useful, but that depends on the situation. It's better to be prepared than not," chuckled Long Chun. He knew that this rust didn't have much killing power. Against true experts, they weren't useful. Against weaklings, there was no need to use such a thing. However, he had other plans. Just as Long Chun was gathering the rust, the rumbling coming from the earth cauldron settled down. Long Chun then looked inside the earth cauldron and found that the pill had become a fist-sized rock. "What is this?" asked Long Chun. Just then, the earth cauldron's lid popped open. The earth cauldron opened, but no medicinal pill came flying out, nor was there anything like the pill transforming into some divine beast. The fist-sized rock just floated in the air. This is? If Long Chun hadn't personally witnessed it, he would have suspected that someone had taken his pill and replaced it with a rock to trick him. He then reached out to grab it. The moment his hand came into contact with it, white smoke erupted, and a bone-chilling coldness spread across his entire arm, encasing it in frost. Long Chun hastily circulated his energy to resist, but the frost quickly enveloped his entire body, turning him into an ice statue. Boom! The frost suddenly exploded, revealing Long Chun once more. Yet, the relentless cold immediately encased his arm in frost again and /o/vel/b/jan/c/om. What is going on? Exclaimed Long Chun. The earth cauldron explained. This is the effect of heavenly Yin water. Don't forget that it's a supreme Yin entity. Then, through Yin comes Yang. Once it touches a powerful flame, it will release an intense frost. The Dragon Blood Extreme Yang pill is considered a supreme Yang pill. Without heavenly Yin energy keeping it in balance, the pill can't condense. Only the heavenly Yin water's energy is able to stabilize the pill and lock its essence inside. The rock-like appearance you see is the heavenly Yin water. All the impurities within the pill were forced out to form this pill cloth. However, this is no ordinary pill cloth. It contains a natural heavenly Yin formation that's keeping the Dragon Blood Extreme Yang pill in a quiet slumber. Without it, the Dragon Blood Extreme Yang pill can't be stored. Hearing this explanation, Long Chun sighed in amazement. The world was truly enormous with many things to explore. Before this, he had only known that heavenly Yin water was precious, but he hadn't understood its full potential or how to use it. Is there a way to tell the grade or the appearance of this pill? Asked Long Chun. The rocky exterior was ice cold, and his divine sense couldn't pierce it. He had no idea what was going on inside. There is no way to tell. If you forcefully scan inside, you will damage the heavenly Yin formation. Then you have to immediately consume it because once the Dragon Blood Extreme Yang pill awakes, consuming it will be no different from suicide, replied the Earth Cauldron. You're saying we can't even tell what kind of pill it is before I consume it? If it's too weak or too strong, wouldn't that mean? The Earth Cauldron remarked. We can only gamble when it comes to this. However, based on my experience, the medicinal effect will definitely not be lacking. As for how strong it is, I don't dare to say. But when it comes to whether or not you can endure it, I feel like it shouldn't be a problem. It was refined from your essence blood. As long as you consume the pill while it hasn't awakened, you will be able to summon the strongest Dragon Blood battle armor. As a life-saving trump card, I feel like it's definitely not bad. Although you have many trump cards, with your power right now, you cannot control them. For example, you might have refined the Astral Bone Claw, but you cannot unleash its full power. It's the same case with the 9-star secret art you learned from the Stone Spirit's Rock. With your power, you cannot endure the impact of that technique. These two trump cards will be useful to you in the future, but now the Dragon Blood Extreme Yang pill is more useful. Long Chun nodded. The Earth Cauldron's deduction was extremely accurate. The Astral Bone Claw was strong, but once he used it, it would exhaust all the astral energy within it. After all, it was a single-use item. As for the God-slaying cross, that was a technique he was incapable of using right now. Even though he had comprehended it, he didn't dare to try it. Right now, the Dragon Blood Extreme Yang pill was what he needed the most. Long Chun put the rock away. After resting for a moment, he used a transportation formation to bring him back to where he had encountered the ghost Nether Rat King. Examining his surroundings, he didn't find anything off. It seemed that no one else had come here, so he continued deeper into the grassland. Meanwhile, the Earth Cauldron and Huolinger were in the primal chaos space, helping him refine the essence blood of the ghost nether rats. According to the Earth Cauldron, although their essence blood was not as powerful as that of the Rat King, the heavenly Yin water refined from them was the same. The amount of heavenly Yin water they could refine from this large amount of essence blood would ultimately be equal to what they refined from the Rat King. However, it would take much longer to do so. With the Dragon Blood Extreme Yang pill in his pocket, Long Chun no longer bothered concealing his presence at all. He directly spread his lightning wings and sped off. However, he didn't encounter more ghost nether rats. Most likely, there weren't that many rat holes all over this sinister grassland. As Long Chun continued onward, the strange grass grew increasingly tall. In the end, they were as tall as trees, and the sinister chi in the air also got denser. However, after he flew for a bit, the grassland was no more to be seen, replaced by a barren land. Upon reaching this barren land, Long Chun found that he could no longer fly. It seemed that there was some law sticking him to the ground. There are footsteps. Long Chun noted 2 sets of footprints in the distance, so he hastily rushed over to find that one of them still had devil chi remaining on it. This set of footprints was most likely left behind by a devil expert who had taken human form. So the devil race managed to sneak in. Long Chen's sense of alarm went off. After all, the opening of Heaven Screen Mountain required the square Heaven Seal's power, and Devil Fall City had always been the enemy of the devil race. In the past openings of Heaven Screen Mountain, every participant was screened heavily to prevent members of the devil race from sneaking in. But this time, the opening of Heaven Screen Mountain was extremely rushed, without limits on the number of participants. As a result, they couldn't properly screen everyone, and some devil experts managed to sneak their way in. The other set of footprints seemed to belong to an actual human. Long Chun then examined their footprints and found that the 2 of them had come at different times. The devil expert had come first, followed by the human. Including Long Chen's own tracks, there were 3 sets of footprints. Curiously, all 3 had approached from the same direction. The previous grassland had seemed completely endless, stretching far beyond the horizon. However, all 3 had arrived here from the same direction. That was too much of a coincidence. Interesting. However, Long Chen didn't waste much time thinking about it. He simply followed their footprints and didn't even bother covering his own tracks. The further Long Chun went, the more he felt that something was off. This area gave off a stench of rotting flesh. Long Chun then grabbed a chunk of soil and tossed it into the primal chaos space's black soil. In an instant, it was devoured. The soil consists of decomposing corpses. Boom! Suddenly, the ground beneath Long Chen's feet shuddered, and a powerful divine might soared. Boom! Without any warning, the ground beneath Long Chen's feet exploded, and the shockwave sent Long Chen flying. Feeling as if he had been struck by a shooting star, Long Chun spat out a mouthful of blood. It was all too sudden for him to react at all. At this moment, chi waves surged across the land, while a twister of dust and soil soared into the sky, directly piercing the black heavenly screen. Even once it broke the heavenly screen, the twister's power didn't diminish. It unfurled, creating an even larger hole in the heavenly screen. The light of the sun actually came through the hole and illuminated Heaven Screen Mountain for the first time in forever. Because of the twister, black soil flew through the air in giant waves. Long Chun simply stood within the waves, watching the core region, and then he saw 2 figures in ragged robes. One of them was lean while the other was muscular. The lean man had blood-red hair, looking so thin as if he were just skin and bones. It felt like without that layer of skin, he would simply fall apart. As for the muscular man, he was covered in black fur like an ape, and his blood chi was like an erupting volcano. To Long Chen's surprise, both of them had a heavenly fate disc behind them. The 2 of them were actually both heavenly chosens. However, at this moment they looked a bit wretched. Their robes were in tatters, and they were covered in wounds. After a moment of shock, Long Chun chuckled sinisterly, his blood heating up. 1 blood expert and 1 devil expert. Hee, interesting. At this moment, the 2 of them also took note of Long Chun, and killing intent instantly blazed in their eyes. I didn't expect you to escape from Hua Qianwu. It seems that her power isn't as great as her appearance, said the wizened blood expert as he stared at Long Chun darkly. That woman is useless, but this is good as well. If I kill you now, the Flame Divine Hall can't say anything, remarked the muscular devil expert with bloodlust. Why the chit-chat? Hand over all the treasures you got and just kill yourselves. That way, at least I'll leave your corpses intact, countered Long Chen lightly. The blood expert and devil expert couldn't believe their ears. Did Long Chun really want to plunder them? How could an ordinary cultivator be trying to rob two heavenly chosens? The blood expert laughed. Idiot. If it weren't for Hu Qianwu's stubbornness, do you think that you would have survived to enter Heaven's Screen Mountain? That annoying woman demanded the right to take your head herself. Hearing this, Long Chun snorted. So it seems that the two of you are very afraid of Hu Qianwu. Even when she wanted to fight me herself, the two of you didn't dare to say anything. Did you guys not mind that both my hands are stained by the blood of your races? Even though Long Chun sounded confident, he was a bit uneasy inside. From their tone of speaking, it seemed that the Divine Flame Hall was plotting something in this opening of Heaven's Screen Mountain. Long Chun was mortal enemies with the Devil race and the Blood race. Their enmity would not cease until one side was annihilated. But the fact that they refrained from fighting him because Hu Qianwu wanted to face him herself was baffling. If this were true, it was highly likely that these groups had already made prior arrangements with the Flame Divine Hall. Otherwise, they wouldn't say such a thing. The Devil race's heavenly chosen furiously roared. Shut your mouth. The fact that you escaped from Hu Qianwu's hands only means you were lucky. That girl fell for your pretty boy face. But now that you're in our hands, all that awaits you is death. Our hands? Long Chun was startled. It seemed that his initial judgment was off. He had assumed that the two of them had started fighting over some treasure, resulting in their injuries. However, it seemed that wasn't the case. Although one of them had come first, it appeared the two of them had reached an agreement and were not hostile toward each other. They were going to face him together. Pretty boy face? Asked Long Chun, an odd expression covering his face. Since when had he become someone who relied on his face to flee for his life? At this moment, the ground beneath their feet shook again. It was like something that had been buried for countless years was on the verge of coming into the light once more. This fellow has killed countless experts of my devil race. I can't let you have him. Not giving the blood expert any chance to argue, the devil expert directly shot toward Long Chun and swung a steel rod at him. This steel rod was as thick as a person's thigh, with countless runes of the devil race carved into it. As soon as it showed up, devil chi exploded. What a terrifying Heaven Saint divine weapon. Scarlet Dragon Battle Armor. Long Chun didn't dare to hold back. He directly ignited his blood and summoned his strongest dragon blood battle armor. He then swung Evil Moon down to collide with the steel rod. The devil expert specialized in raw power and had never met someone who could match him. However, when he clashed with Long Chun, his hands went numb, and blood dripped from them. His steel rod was sent flying from his grasp. While Long Chun also lost hold of Evil Moon, he was prepared. Having fought Hu Qianwu, he knew how terrifying a heavenly fate disc was. Hence, the moment Evil Moon flew away, he spun and slapped the devil expert's face with a hand covered in stars. His slap sent the devil expert flying, and then Long Chen's other hand smoothly caught Evil Moon. After that, his dragon blood erupted, and he launched Split the Heavens again. Long Chen's movements were incredibly smooth, completing the entire sequence without pause. Even though both of them were evenly matched in the initial clash, the devil expert was caught off guard by Long Chen's seamless transition into the next attack. Boom! The devil expert roared and crossed his arms in front of him, summoning his heavenly fate disc to be a shield for him. As a result, both he and Long Chun were blown back at the same time. The devil expert's expression changed as a small nick appeared in his heavenly fate disc. Just as he felt a mixture of shock and anger, Long Chun once more pounced at him. With the initiative now in Long Chen's favor and the devil expert's heavenly fate disc no longer in perfect condition, it was the best time to kill the devil expert. Boom! Just as Long Chun prepared to strike, the ground collapsed beneath him, sucking him in. The devil expert and blood expert cried out in shock as they too were swallowed by the earth. Long Chun felt like a giant mouth had just devoured him as everything turned black. Within this darkness, space and time were in chaos. A powerful tearing force threatened to tear him apart if he wasn't in the dragon blood battle armor state. Long Chun continued to fall without being able to stop it. He then sensed someone not too far from him. Without even thinking about it, he swung Evil Moon in that direction. In any case, there were only 3 of them here, so he would attack first and talk later. Sparks flew, temporarily lighting up the darkness. Long Chen's saber struck a blood-colored ruler, the weapon of the blood expert. The blood expert's heavenly fate disc had long since been activated, and blood mist shrouded him. Even as a heavenly chosen, he had to unleash his full power to withstand this pressure. Thanks to the brief sparks, Long Chun spotted the devil expert as well, and the latter was quite far from him. Long Chun snorted, "I'll deal with you first then. Hand over all your treasures." Suddenly, a powerful suction force came from Evil Moon, causing the iron ruler to stick to it. The blood expert was startled, as he had never faced such a bizarre technique before. Moreover, they were still falling rapidly, which made it difficult for him to control his body. He was instantly drawn right to where Long Chun wanted him to be. As Long Chun pulled Evil Moon, his left foot swung out toward the family jewel of his opponent. With his iron ruler stuck and seeing Long Chen's kick approaching, the blood expert could only bend over and slam his left elbow into Long Chen's foot. However, his attack missed as Long Chen's kick was a feint. By bending over, the blood expert had essentially delivered his head right to Long Chun. Instantly sensing danger, he tried to turn, but his vision flashed. Long Chun slapped him 16 times, the crisp sounds resembling a string of firecrackers. After those 16 slaps, the blood expert's face swelled, and he grew lightheaded. Just then his mouth opened wide. At this moment, Long Chen's hair stood on end, and he instinctively raised Evil Moon in front of him. "Damn!" Long Chen grunted. Half his body went numb as he flew backward. The blood expert had actually spat out a 3-inch dagger, another terrifying Heaven Saint divine weapon, toward Long Chun. This tiny blood-colored dagger was powerful enough to almost make Long Chun spit out blood. Most terrifying of all, he hadn't sensed it at all before it was unleashed. If it weren't for his quick reactions, he would have been instantly killed. Long Chun couldn't help but ask, "How treacherous. You were actually hiding a weapon in your mouth. Tell me the truth. What kind of weapon do you have in your butt?" His killing blow had been blocked, and now Long Chun was even mocking him. As a result, the blood expert was enraged. His rage stemmed from the fact that this dagger was one of his core divine weapons, mostly used to increase his cultivation speed. It was a legacy treasure of his race. Every generation would impart their life's full comprehension into the dagger before passing it on to the next. With this dagger, he essentially possessed the accumulated knowledge and combat experience of dozens of generations of experts. It was his secret killing tool, rarely used but never failing when deployed. However, today, even at this close distance and after a perfect setup, Long Chen managed to block it. When he heard Long Chen's taunt, flames almost burst out of his eyes. Yet, with both of them falling rapidly, he was unable to charge at Long Chun and could only glare at his arrogant act. "Don't fall into my hands, or I'll make you regret coming to this world," threatened the blood expert. "Hurry up and hand over your treasures, or you'll regret coming out of your mother's." "Cough, you know," countered Long Chun arrogantly as he rested Evil Moon on his shoulder. The blood expert roared, "Fuck you. We just opened the underground gate when you came here. It's only because of you that it went out of control." "Oh, you still haven't gotten the treasure? It seems that I arrived just in time," replied Long Chun, his expression brightening. It seemed that the treasures were here. "Indeed. It just so happened that we were missing a blood sacrifice. Your arrival is perfect." The devil expert's sinister sneer rang out in the darkness. Long Chen laughed. "I feel like sacrificing the 2 of you and then taking the treasures myself is the way to go." "Treasures? Do you even know what's inside?" sneered the blood expert. "Who cares? As long as they're treasures, they're related to me by destiny. All masterless treasures are mine. All treasures with masters are also mine. In any case, as long as I want it, it's mine," replied Long Chun indifferently. The blood expert and devil expert snorted at the same time. "Ignorant! Idiot!" Boom! Suddenly, this space shook, and Long Chun stopped falling. The abrupt halt felt like he had smashed into something, nearly causing him to spit out blood. After stabilizing himself, he immediately took a step in the direction where he remembered the blood expert had been. The blood expert was also dazed by that sudden impact. Before he could stabilize himself, Long Chen's saber chi arrived in front of him. With a furious roar, the blood expert swung his iron ruler and somehow managed to accurately block Long Chen's attack. However, Long Chen's strike had the advantage of initiative, while the blood expert's block was hasty and unsteady. Still reeling from the impact, the blood expert was sent flying despite his defense, spitting out a mouthful of blood. After sending him flying, Long Chun had no chance to follow up. Borrowing the rebound force from striking the blood expert, he spun back, and Evil Moon sliced through the air behind him. Boom! Evil Moon struck a giant steel rod as the devil expert had come to assist. When these two divine weapons collided, Long Chun retreated several steps, while the devil expert tumbled into the distance. TCH, is this all you got? Even if the two of you joined forces, you wouldn't be a match for Hua Qianwu. How dare you act arrogant in front of Boss Long San? Snorted Long Chun. Long Chun rested Evil Moon on his shoulder, gazing at them scornfully. After repeated probing blows, he found that both of them were at least one level weaker than Hua Qianwu. With that, he was sure of victory. Buzz. Suddenly, this dark world lit up, and upon seeing his surroundings, Long Chun jumped in fright. Fool! You didn't even know what kind of danger you threw yourself in. Now there's no escape for you, shouted the blood expert. He wiped off some blood from the corner of his mouth, smiling sinisterly at Long Chun. This was a vast hall, devoid of anything except 8 giant skeletal corpses. 4 of them were humanoid but gigantic. Despite their wizened bodies, the bloodline pressure they exuded was absolutely terrifying. The other 4 bodies belonged to devil beasts with an odd appearance, serpentine heads and eagle bodies. Although they had been lying on the ground for countless years, the devil chi they exuded was suffocating. So, you came here for them? Asked Long Chun, instantly realizing that the devil expert and blood expert had come from these corpses. You only realized now? It's too late, sneered the devil expert. You don't even know what kind of place this is, but you still barged in. You've sent yourself to your death. The blood expert added, since you're about to die, I'll help you be a ghost that understands how he died. This place is a battlefield from the immemorial era where my blood race's experts and the devil race's experts fell. Although they died, their blood did not vanish, and their soul essence did not disperse. Their wills are eternal. So, we came here to receive the inheritance of our ancestors, but a fool like you has also come. All that awaits you is death and despair. Long Chun was baffled. Just where were the treasures that Mo Nian had promised him? He looked more closely, but other than the 8 corpses, he didn't see anything else here. Long Chun couldn't help but curse. It couldn't be that the treasures he mentioned are just these 8 corpses, right? What the fuck am I supposed to do with them? Make some stew. Fool, after being conned by someone, you should just peacefully await your death, sneered the blood expert. Fuck. Does your face not hurt? I'll slap you a few more times to wake you up, retorted Long Chun furiously as he stamped on the ground. The ground was hard like metal, but when his foot stamped on it, a slight crack appeared. The blood expert already seethed with anger after being repeatedly slapped in the face. That was his life's greatest humiliation. Now that Long Chun brought it up, his fury instantly exploded. Bastard! I'll rip your corpse into 8 pieces today. Boom! When their divine weapons clashed again, Long Chun simply swayed, while the blood expert flew back. He wasn't a match for Long Chun in a head-on clash. Although the blood expert was powerful, he was still a level weaker than Hua Qianwu. Furthermore, his divine weapon was also inferior to the Blaze Dragon Bone Whip. Having exchanged a few blows with Long Chun, he always came out on the losing end. Now, Long Chun was in his peak state, while his confidence was flagging, which started to affect his fight. Rip me into 8 pieces? Do you think your unskilled techniques are capable of that? Sneered Long Chen. Not giving his opponent a chance to recollect himself, Long Chen spun through the air, his saber hacking at the blood expert like a wild tempest. The blood expert was once more sent flying, blood spraying from his mouth. Long Chen took 3 steps, each one leaving countless afterimages. The blood expert couldn't discern which was real. Long Chen was simply too fast. At this moment, the blood expert had nowhere to run. His back was against one of the corpses. However, just then, he sneered. Seeing Long Chen's saber coming for him, he suddenly held out his blood-colored ruler with both hands. Following that, a strange sight occurred. The corpse behind him actually moved, and blood-colored lines flew out of its body, enveloping the blood expert. Boom! Long Chen's saber fell. Just as he thought that this attack would leave the blood expert on the verge of death, Evil Moon was knocked back. The impact left his hand bleeding, and he was forced back over 10 steps before he managed to stabilize himself. Long Chen stared in shock at the blood expert. The giant corpse was sending blood-colored runes toward the blood expert. It was no wonder his power had suddenly soared as if he was possessed. His power was completely different from before. This power was the corpse's. From a distance, the devil expert sneered at Long Chen. I told you. This place is hell for you. Even if your power is a bit greater than ours, you still won't be able to escape your death. At this moment, the devil expert was standing on a devil beast's corpse. Devil chi was slowly entering him from the corpse, and his aura rapidly climbed. Meanwhile, the blood expert wiped off the blood from his mouth and smiled sinisterly. I admit that your power is above mine, but it means nothing. I am receiving my ancestors' bloodline power and will. Your power isn't even worth mentioning in front of me. Interesting, said Long Chen, swinging out his numb hand. He looked at the blood expert and then the devil expert before setting off toward a giant devil beast. However, before Long Chen could even get close, a devil rune lit up on its body, knocking him back. A barrier? Long Chen was surprised and then swung his saber at the barrier. Boom! The barrier didn't break, and Long Chen tumbled back. Ha ha ha! You idiot! Who do you think you are? Do you think you can break the protective divine light of emperors? You overestimate your own power. The blood expert and devil expert laughed at Long Chen's miserable state. Emperors! Don't try to con me, sneered Long Chen. No, they aren't conning you. These life forms are truly pre-emperors, said the Earth Cauldron. What does that mean? Asked Long Chen hastily. They are experts who have cultivated 9 heaven veins. 9 heaven veins? Long Chen's heart skipped a beat. Xing Wujiang had cultivated a single heaven vein, but he could already dominate regular heaven saints. However, these corpses had cultivated 9. No wonder they still possessed such terrifying power even after being dead for so many years. Long Chen wasn't even qualified to get close to them. I want them. Long Chen wanted to toss them into the primal chaos space and have the black soil devour them. Once that happened, the primal chaos space's power would rise once again. With your power now, it's impossible, replied the Earth Cauldron. In that case, I'll kill the 2 of them first, remarked Long Chen. He then took a deep breath, and the Dragon Blood Extreme Yang pill appeared in his hand. Just then, the ground inside this hall started cracking. The central portion suddenly bulged as if something was trying to rise out of the earth. Long Chen, the devil expert, and the blood expert were all stunned by this scene. Boom! The center of the hall broke open, and a violet crystal hundreds of meters long floated out of the ground. This violet crystal was like an eye that could expose all of Long Chen's secrets, causing his heart to quiver. The giant crystal had 8 crystalline chains attached to them. As the crystal rose, those chains rose out of the ground as well. When Long Chen saw the direction they were going, he was startled. Those 8 chains were heading in the direction of those 8 corpses. The next moment, another explosion occurred, and all the chains were fully freed from the ground. The 8 corpses quivered. As Long Chen anticipated, The 8 chains were connected to the ankles of these corpses. Their ankles had been covered with dirt, so he hadn't noticed before. Now, Long Chun realized that this violet crystal was binding these 8 ancient corpses. Nian really is incredible. There's actually such a treasure here. Long Chun exclaimed, his heart leaped. He practically prostrated himself toward Nian's sharp nose for treasures. Nian didn't know anything about what was going on here, yet he had still accurately deduced that there was a treasure here. It was no wonder this fellow always considered himself a treasure hunter. As long as there was a treasure, he could sense it. Although Long Chun didn't know what this violet crystal was, the fact that it could bind these 8 corpses showed that it was a priceless treasure. Divine light flowed on top of the crystal, and 6 kinds of strange fluctuations moved within it like fish. The blood expert and devil expert's expressions instantly changed. The 2 of them were shocked to find that they were now unable to absorb the energy of these corpses. Most terrifying of all, the energy they had managed to absorb before was flowing back into the corpses. Long Chun instantly understood what was happening. A sinister laugh escaped his lips as he walked toward the blood expert. The blood expert panicked. Without the power of this corpse, he wasn't a match for Long Chun. Who was it that said that they would rip me into 8 pieces? Tell me the truth. I've heard of dismemberment by 5 horses, but I don't know much about ripping someone into 8 pieces. Tell me, how are you supposed to rip someone into 8 pieces evenly? Long Chen's gaze roved over the blood expert as if trying to decide on the best place to cut. When the blood expert saw Long Chen's gaze, his hair stood on end. Not from anger but terror. After all, this place was sealed. There was nowhere for him to run. If the blood expert wanted to tear through the space here, he would need to use the Emperor Qi within these corpses. They only ended up coming here because their spies within the human race had helped them survey this place. Devil Fall City's 4 noble families had long since colluded with other races. The Iron Blood Gate in particular had a close relationship with the Blood Race. When they sensed that there were pre-emperor corpses underground, they immediately passed word to the Blood Race. However, with Xing Wujiang guarding the gates of Devil Fall City, the Blood Race was unable to get in. Although the Blood Race was not part of the Devil Race, they also weren't part of the human race. Hence, Xing Wujiang was free to let them in or tell them to scram. Xing Wujiang had long since disliked the Iron Blood Gate, so he naturally rejected the Blood Race. As a result, the Blood Race could only watch helplessly, and the Devil Race was in a similar situation. Let alone getting into the city, they hadn't even dared to approach Heaven's Screen Mountain. However, this time, the Xing family hadn't done a strict examination of the participants. Furthermore, the Flame Divine Hall's Vice Hall Master was present, and had guaranteed their safe entry into Heaven's Screen Mountain. So they had come. Upon arriving, these 2 immediately rushed to this location. Although the devil expert arrived first, he found that with his own power, he was unable to trigger the senses of the underground devil corpses or open this underground world. Later on, when the blood expert arrived, the 2 initially clashed, but they quickly realized that if they wanted to open the underground world, they had to work together. As a result, the 2 of them swore on their blood and soul that they wouldn't attack each other before leaving Heaven's Screen Mountain. Although both the Blood Race and Devil Race were extremely brutal, they didn't dare to betray this kind of blood oath. After making this oath, they started working together, and it took them several days before they managed to activate the underground passageway. Doing so had exhausted quite a bit of their energy. Otherwise, Long Chun wouldn't have been able to dominate them easily. The 2 of them were quite unlucky. As soon as they managed to open the underground world, even before the passageway formed, Long Chun arrived, and the 3 of them ended up in the underground world. However, none of them had expected there to be some mysterious crystal binding these 8 corpses. The 2 of them wanted to break the crystal, but how could Long Chun possibly give them that chance? Seeing Long Chun coming over, both the blood expert and the devil expert started to sweat. Suddenly, a wave of divine sense passed through them, exploding within all 3 of their souls. Long Chen's head buzzed, and his soul almost shattered. Merge with our blood souls and break the heavenly eye seal. Our power is yours. Shit! Long Chen's expression changed as this divine sense came from those corpses. Having been sealed by the violet crystal, they wanted to borrow the power of these two heavenly chosens to break free. If they succeeded and the two of them merged with the 8 corpses, Long Chen really would be ripped into 8 pieces. I have to stop them. Long Chen shot toward the blood expert with his lightning wings. When 6 split, the heaven runes lit up on Evil Moon. Long Chen swung it at the blood expert's head. Just as Long Chen's saber was about to land, the corpse behind the blood expert raised its hands, protecting the blood expert. Boom! Evil Moon slammed into its hands, and a heaven-shaking explosion erupted. Because of the impact, Long Chen's hands were turned into a bloody pulp, and Evil Moon flew out of his grasp. Ha ha ha, Long Chen. Just wait for your death. I'll let you experience what it feels like to be ripped into 8 pieces. The blood expert laughed. Long Chen had no time to be angry. He lunged at the devil expert. But the devil corpses behind the 2 experts opened their mouths and swallowed them before Long Chen could reach them. After that, 2 heavenly fate discs appeared behind the heads of those 2 corpses. Long Chen's expression completely changed. They had finished the merger so quickly. If these 2 corpses came back to life by relying on the heavenly fate discs, everything would be over. Just as Long Chen was pondering what he could do to stop them, the space around him twisted, and he was instantly transported within the violet crystal. A powerful pulling force drew Long Chen into the violet crystal, giving him no chance to resist, and in the blink of an eye, he found himself in a violet world. The ground was flat like a mirror, and the sky was deep blue, with a few clouds floating through, calm and peaceful. It was a world that could make him forget all his troubles. Welcome, friend. A gentle voice rang out behind him. Long Chen turned over to see a white-robed, middle-aged man standing there. However, he was startled when he saw the man's face. This handsome and scholarly man had an eye that resembled an amethyst. Within that eye, 6 divine runes flowed, making it seem as though one could see the workings of heaven and earth through it. 6 Tao. Heavenly Eye. Long Chen hadn't expected to encounter another expert of the heavenly eye race. However, this scholarly man only had that one eye. The other eye was gone, leaving his eye socket sunken in. My apologies. I hope I didn't scare you, said the scholarly man as he smiled apologetically. Senior is too courteous. Just what is going on? Asked Long Chen. Back in my day, there was a chaotic battle between the 10,000 races, and almost every race joined forces against the human race. At that time, the Julie, Violet Blood, Heavenly Eye, and other leaders of the human race launched a crazy assault. While I was fighting these 8, I realized I was too weak and unable to beat them. Hence, I had no choice but to detonate one of my heavenly eyes to kill them. Too weak. Long Chen felt a chill to hear that. If the Earth Cauldron hadn't told him just how powerful those corpses were, he would have believed this middle-aged man's words. The man continued, however, I could only crush their bodies, not their souls and wills. Their bodies still have their bloodline runes within them. If I did not seal them, they could possess other experts and be reborn. Thus, I used my other heavenly eye to seal myself with them. In any case, I was just too weak. Pulling them into an eternal slumber at least ensures that I didn't lose face for the heavenly eye race. Long Chen stared at this man, not sensing any anger or regret emanating from him. He seemed like a kind person. When he spoke of his weakness, it didn't sound like self-mockery or false humility. He genuinely felt this way. Senior, do you feel hate? Asked Long Chen rather suddenly. The middle-aged man was taken aback. After staring at Long Chen for a bit, he seemed to understand his meaning and nodded. At first, I did, but I stopped caring about it after a while. Do you see the clouds in the sky? Long Chen nodded. The moment he arrived here, he saw this vast sky. Those few clouds were quite conspicuous. The man sighed. When I used all my power to seal them, my world became covered in black clouds, the manifestation of my hatred. I hated them for ruining this world, for ruining my peaceful life, for slaying countless people. I hated them for making me leave my respected master and my cherished family. When I died, they were definitely filled with pain. The man's voice was heavy as he was lost in distant memories. He then looked up at the clouds in the sky. As time passed, those black clouds faded, and I no longer felt such hatred. I no longer had the energy to hate. Now, my world only has those 4 clouds left, which are the love in my heart. He then pointed at one of them, smiling warmly. She is my wife, the warmest, most beautiful woman I know. A foolish woman who somehow fell in love with me and gave me everything. I was willing to give her my everything as well. From the moment I saw her, I swore I would make her the most blessed woman in the world. Those 3 smaller clouds are our children. I felt incredibly blessed when they were born, the symbols of our love. I swore not to let anyone harm them. However, I was unable to protect the ones I wanted to protect. How sad must they be when they hear the news of my demise? I can't even bring myself to imagine what their tortured faces look like. Long Chen's heart tightened as incomparable pain assaulted it. That was also the sight he feared the most. He didn't dare to imagine just how much pain his loved ones would feel if he fell in combat. I felt hate. I hated these animals for their brutality, and I also hated myself for my powerlessness. Yet, as time passed, I could no longer keep those things in my heart. I forgot about the scenes of my battle. I forgot the names of the brothers who fought alongside me. I can't even remember who my master was. Now, all I can remember is them, my family. I want to hate, but I don't have the energy to do so. I'm afraid that my hatred would make me forget the most important people in my heart, continued the man. When he looked at those 4 clouds in the sky, his eyes filled with emotion. Those 4 clouds were the most important things to him. Long Chen solemnly remarked, Senior, you don't need to hate anymore. When I go out, I will avenge you. That way, you can release the seal and search for your loved ones. Long Chen felt immense sympathy for this man's pain, and he swore to eliminate those corpses so that he could be free. However, Long Chen didn't know whether his wife and children still existed. If they had reincarnated and his wife had married someone else, what would happen? He didn't dare to even bring up such a possibility. For him, that thought would be more painful than death. After so many years, this was perhaps the only thing keeping him going. The man said, Thank you, my young friend. However, because my power is inferior to theirs, in order to seal them, I gave up my chance to reincarnate. That's... Long Chen felt another burst of sadness. Now, he had no idea how to comfort him. Don't feel bad. As a warrior of the heavenly eye race, I didn't lose the dignity of the heavenly eye race. As a husband, I was able to protect my wife. As a father, I didn't bring shame to my children. That is enough. I'm satisfied. The middle-aged man smiled at Long Chen. Long Chen's heart filled with grief. He detested war, but some people always created conflict. They would never understand just how much pain they brought to others with their battles. It seemed as if witnessing others in pain brought them joy. Could it be that the life forms in this world truly lacked respect or gratitude? Boom! Just then, the violet world shuddered, and the middle-aged man said, Their assault has started. The violet world started shaking, and the glass-like ground was starting to crack. It seemed that this world would shatter. Senior, send me out. I'll think of a way to get rid of them, remarked Long Chen as he gritted his teeth. He was ready to swallow the dragon blood extreme yang pill to fight these ancient corpses. There's no rush. I still have some questions for you, said the middle-aged man. Please ask, Senior. Have you seen members of my heavenly eye race before? How is the heavenly eye race now? Asked the middle-aged man with a hint of hope and nervousness. Long Chen hesitated but still forced himself to say, I've encountered another senior of the heavenly eye race, but that senior's situation was about the same as yours. The middle-aged man shook, and he nervously asked, Has my heavenly eye race been destroyed? Long Chen replied, I don't think so. At the very least, according to what I know, the violet blood race still exists. I have violet blood in me. You should be able to tell. While I've never seen the Jilly race, I believe that if the violet blood race still exists, they should too. If that's the case, the heavenly eye race shouldn't have been wiped out either. That was the only way Long Chun could comfort him. The Julie, violet blood, and heavenly eye races were the leaders of the human race, and they had managed to eke out a peaceful world within lawless chaos. After obtaining the recognition of the 10,000 races, they walked to the very peak of the world. Even though other powerful branches existed within the human race, they were unable to compare to the three of them. What? You've never seen the Julie race? Asked the middle-aged man, staring at Long Chun in shock. Yes, I've never seen anyone from the Julie race. What about it? Is there a problem, senior? Replied Long Chun, a bit puzzled. The middle-aged man stared at Long Chun, looking as if he wanted to say something, but he didn't in the end. This baffled Long Chun. He didn't know what he had said wrong. At this moment, a flash of pain streaked across the middle-aged man's face. He sighed. My life has come to an end. What power I have left can only be used on them. Otherwise, I would use my pupil arts to see what happened to the heavenly eye race. Senior, you can let me try. If I can't, said Long Chun hastily. He knew that this senior wouldn't be able to rest in peace if he didn't know the situation of the heavenly eye race. Shaking his head, the middle-aged man remarked, as a warrior of the heavenly eye race, I cannot retreat, even after I've lost everything. At this moment, I cannot throw away the pride of the heavenly eye race, but I do need your help. I need to borrow the power of your violet blood to use my pupil arts and destroy these corpses. Senior, can we switch methods? Asked Long Chun suddenly. What? I want those corpses. Do you have a way to help me gather them? You want to take them? Do you know that they are pre-emperors? Even if I have the power to help you take them, as soon as they enter your innate space, they will blast it apart. It's no different from suicide. In other words, you can move them into a separate space? Long Chun was delighted. The middle-aged man had no idea what Long Chun was thinking, but he nodded. However, as soon as one of them is moved, my seal formation will come undone. Once the seal is broken, the others will be freed and will quickly awaken. Without the power of this formation, I won't be able to deal with them. With haste, Long Chun said, my space is limitless and unbreakable. We can send them into it. However, those two heavenly chosens have merged with two corpses. With the heavenly fate discs supporting them, I can't move them. At most, I can help you take those 6 corpses. At that moment, my power will be exhausted, and the remaining 2. Senior, can you trust me? As long as you help me gather those 6 corpses, leave the rest to me. I swear on my life I won't let the 2 of them leave Heaven's Screen Mountain alive. Promised Long Chun. If these corpses were simply destroyed, Long Chun would feel endless regret. After all, if they went into the primal chaos space, the primal chaos space would grow to an unimaginable level. However, Long Chun knew that the senior hesitated because he was afraid Long Chun wouldn't be able to deal with the remaining 2 corpses. Once their blood soul merged with the heavenly chosens, their power would rise to a shocking level. Even so, seeing Long Chun promise so solemnly, the middle-aged man nodded. The next moment, space quivered, and Long Chun came flying out of the violet world. The blood expert and devil expert were being boosted by the corpses, their auras growing rapidly as the corpses merged with them. Long Chun, just give up. I'll consider letting you die quickly if you do, shouted the blood expert. His voice had changed, resembling the low growl of an ancient and bloodthirsty demon. Every word was like a needle stabbing into Long Chun's soul, invading his will. I think you should give up. If you do, I'll consider only ripping you into 7 pieces. Your corpse will be more intact, responded Long Chun. Ignoring him, he ran over to one of the devil corpses. Boom! Long Chun grabbed the violet chain, and a berserk devil pressure crashed into him, blowing back his hair. He instantly felt a terrifying pressure try to crush him. In truth, this pressure was an attack on the will. If it was an ordinary person, their will would instantly crumble. However, Long Chun's will was unaffected even under this pressure. Without any fear, he pulled the violet chain along with the giant corpse. The blood expert and devil expert were both baffled, not knowing what Long Chen was doing. Yet they didn't like it. Suddenly, the chain in Long Chen's hand lit up. The heavenly I Senior was helping him. "Get in here!" Long Chen roared and pulled with all his power, causing the giant devil corpse to fly into the air. Long Chen quickly formed hand seals. As the space behind him quivered, a giant spatial vortex emerged like a gaping maw.